Every stylish guy knows what takes an outfit from good to great is the attention to detail. And nothing completes a look like the right belt. You know what ruins a great outfit fast? A worn out belt that doesn't fit right. Most guys are still rocking belts with stretched out holes that either pinch your waist or sag and throw off the whole look. That's why I'm excited to partner with today's sponsor, Anson Belt and Buckle. This family-run company has been around since 2009 and they've completely reimagined how belts should work. Instead of holes, Anson Belt uses a micro-adjustable track system with quarter-inch increments. That means you get the perfect fit every single time. And once you feel that kind of comfort and precision, you'll never want to wear a traditional belt again. The best part, you can mix and match every buckle with any strap. One box set gives you 9 different belt combos, so you'll get to maximize versatility with way less clutter in your closet. But this isn't just about style, it's about feeling more comfortable, more confident, and more put together every time you get dressed. Anson Belt moves with you, so whether you're sitting, standing, or on the go, you're always comfortable and always looking sharp. I've been wearing mine nonstop, and honestly, it's the best belt I've ever owned. Once you try it, you will see exactly what I mean. You won't go back. And here's why you can trust them. They're still proudly family-owned. They've earned over 40,000 5-star reviews, and every belt is backed by a lifetime guarantee on functionality. They stand behind every product they make, and once you try one, you'll understand why. And because Anson Belt and Buckle is sponsoring today's video, when you click the link in the description or scan this QR code to build a box set, you'll get 2 bonus pieces, a buckle and a strap completely free. That's 3 buckles and 3 straps, which you can mix and match into 9 unique belt combos all in one box. It's an exclusive deal you won't get anywhere else, so click the link, build your set, and upgrade your belt game today. It's go time. What's going on, family? How you doing? Let me go ahead and introduce the crew. We got Mr. Trev Smooth. I am Chels, Real Dope, Kink, Willie, me, myself, Lapeef JR. Welcome to King Talk. What's going on, gentlemen? What's going on? How y'all doing?
What to do, what to do?
Another day.
What's good, bro?
No complaints, man. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. It's like the week is already flying past, already Tuesday. Let's see what we got going on in the chat. What's going on? Fishing the Fit says, good evening, bro, in chat. Christopher Matthews says, good evening, everyone. Josh wants to know, is this title clickbait? The Capricorn 96 says, salute to the panel. Miss Sharon D. Berry, also a member, says, hello, family. The MF Truth says, it's always Jermaine's fault. Successful MD says, peace to all. Successful MD also says, when avoiding accountability. The Lit says, 999 with the super chat says, collapse of the family because of black men. Women follow the men that they like and that they love and things. That's their systematic oppressions that they still stuck until this day for the past 50 years. Thank you for that super chat, family. So I hope the panel holds it together on this one. What else we got in here? DJ said this track is dope. What else we got? We got True. Taylor says, shout out to the panel. I'm gonna send you the link, True. We also have Julia's in the house as well. So I want to thank everybody that is tapping in thus far. If you haven't already, hit that like button. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. And if you are catching this on a replay, hit that like button. Also, make sure you subscribe as well. Shout out to the sponsor of the show, Anson Belt and Company. That link is in the description. Get your belt game together. Fantastic belts. I got options. I got the brown, the black, I even got the stash to when I'm traveling, man. I just want to put a little cash somewhere in a secret place. But that link is in the description. So go ahead and get yours. Y'all ready for this, gentlemen? Yeah.
Let's
Well,
get
you
it.
look like you're tired, man. Yeah, you like you're kind of tired.
Oh no, bro. I was been busy. I had a long day. You
Oh,
good? I'm locked in.
okay. I don't know if you need some coffee. You a coffee drinker?
Hell no,
You don't know?
bro. I retired Navy and didn't drink coffee. Don't drink liquor, bro. Who would have thought?
Well, Hink don't drink no liquor. I don't know about coffee. You drink coffee, Hink?
No, I'm not a coffee drinker either.
Your mic always high. Just keep your mic on for a second, Hank. Let me drop it down a little bit, man. There you go.
Was it too loud or something?
Yeah, man. I think you want to be heard, huh? That's what it is.
My wife told me I need to turn my mic up sometime, man. It'd be too low, so
Oh well.
I guess I try to come out hot on it. I don't know,
She might got to turn her back a little bit because you over there flashing in the red. So.
God, dang. Sometimes it's like that, big brother.
Yeah, I know it is. It is.
Right on.
Yeah. So no coffee or no drinking. Okay. And then Trev is a social. It's what we call a socialite. Just like every now and then.
Socialite?
Yeah, like a little champagne, like a little wine here and there. And what's that?
Apple juice.
Oh, okay. Look like some whiskey or something. What up, dope?
What up?
Yeah, that's a nice cap right there. That's one of yours.
Say that again.
What up?
So that's a nice cap. Is that one of yours?
Oh shit, I can't
Oh
hear you.
no. That's a Mary joint.
Oh, okay. All right, man. I can't roll with you, man. I heard about them prices, man. That's a little bit out of my pay grade right there, man. So they have probably about 200 or something.
Probably three something maybe.
All right, so here we go. So yeah.
But I don't. I just do the statement piece.
You breaking up bad, man.
Yeah, I think doping.
So
Wi-Fi.
Yeah, that. Try to turn your phone off for a second. Let's see how that sounds.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hit. Why we always hear you, bro? Let me see. Yeah, we always hear you.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, let me turn you down a little bit too, cause you
No.
you flashing in red too. You and him be coming in hot. All right. Anyhow, we're gonna go ahead and get this show started. Real dope. Internet is a little fuzzy. Why don't you try to use your phone internet instead of the hotel? Let's see if that do any better. Yeah. Okay. I think you're good. Well, yeah, we'll see. We'll play it by ear. Somebody says he got a 2G phone. LOL, real dope. Remember them 2G phones, man. Some of y'all tablets not even 5G. They're still on that 4G LTE.
Hey, man, it's them Apple products, man. It's something about them Apple products, brother.
I don't know if it's an Apple
Oh
thing.
damn, you got an iPhone? No way. 2025 people still rocking iPhones? Damn.
Let's go ahead and get the show started, though, man. M White dropped off. I thought that was dope that dropped off, but excellent show is the Black Man's Fault, the collapse of the Black family. It's the Black man's fault for the collapse of the Black family. I'm gonna go ahead and run this clip, and then we'll go ahead and get into it. Y'all ready? All right, here we go.
Well, when the man make the baby, how old is he? Let's start there.
Your child itself.
His child itself. When he make the baby, what he do? He go make another baby.
Make another baby.
So how the woman go be strong? Who's destroying these families? Is it systematic? Is it the white man?
Mm-hmm.
Who's destroying the black family?
It's a collective.
I say the black man.
Ooh.
When mom and daddy meet, who's there to control the meeting? When daddy show up saying, I'm this kind of man, and mama believe him, and daddy find out to be a lying motherfucker, what white man is involved in that?
Nope.
What system?
Nope.
Come on now. Come on now. When they meet, when mama and daddy meet before you be born, who's controlling that to say that they're destroying our families? Right. If you go back and ask your mama, why you and daddy not married? She ain't gonna say no white man.
No, she not.
Come on now.
No, she not. She gonna say your daddy left me.
Your daddy got caught cheating with another woman. He had another baby over here. He used to beat me.
Yeah.
What white man did that?
Ain't no white man did that. That's on us.
Come on now.
That's on us.
Come on now. Because the slave used to watch his wife get raped and he still stayed.
Facts.
Nigga, come on now. So the breakdown of the destruction was the breakdown of the black man's mind. His self-inflicted wounds, homie. The black man became more about pussy and feeling good than he did nigga taking care of his family.
So you don't think maybe that, like, because some people say, right, that, well, when the government started offering assistance to the black woman.
They never offered it. They offered it to the white woman first.
Right.
The black woman had to go find out about it because the nigga made a baby right here and went up there and made another baby. Why wouldn't she take it? And the man done left. Nobody kicked the black man out the house, my nigga.
Yeah, that's been the narrative.
But you can't, homie, because you can get government assistance with the man in the house. That's the biggest lie told.
Oh, okay. Tell me about it.
You can get food stamps and welfare with the man and the woman in the house as husband and wife, but not baby daddy and baby mama.
So that gotta be your wife.
Legally.
Yeah.
By law.
Right. So that's where the divide came. He wasn't marrying.
It wasn't no divide. Listen to me, homie.
I'm listening.
The black man started thinking with his dick. Laying around lazy, wanting a pimp. Remember, you got a pimping culture that came through after the civil rights.
Yep.
Superfly. The Mac. Now the black man laying on the black woman. White man didn't set that up, homie. The black man lost his tenacity. And we losing it now.
How so?
What you mean, how so? How many niggas open the door for their wife? How many niggas pay all the bills? How many niggas cut his own grass? How many niggas fix his own car? That's how so.
Right. Okay. And I hear that a lot too. But do you think, is it based on today's economic?
I'm going to stop it right there. There's only a little bit more left, but I'll come back to it. Let me start off by asking you guys this question right here. When you hear collapse of the black family, what does that mean to you? Go ahead, Trev.
What we're witnessing, a lot of people like to say it's a cop-out when you say it's systematic, but it damn sure is systematic. If it wasn't, I don't think we'd be in this predicament right now. Do I think that means we can't do anything about it and can't rise above? No, but it was by design to destroy the nuclear family, not just the black family, but every nuclear family. We got a lot more attention and a lot more against us. We know that, but that's just what it was. It was his absolute plan to get the woman outside of the house, break up the family. Look at what's promoted on television and now internet. You have complete access. You don't have to wait till you get home. You can be at work, just screwing around on your phone, picking up the garbage. When you look at what hits your phone, all you see is negativity, and they normalize it to the point where we're desensitized when we see nonsense. We'll see the most wild things on the internet that you never would have witnessed in your life, things that I was never exposed to. My children are, and it's normalized. So they're absolutely trying to break up the nuclear family. It's the destruction of the family. So the question is, what could we do about it? We have to do our best to not get women pregnant who we don't plan on being with. Right? If you can't be with that woman until your children are grown, then you got to be very cautious when you sleep with her. You need to be taking the proper precautions, period. We have to be more responsible with that, because these fatherless homes are absolutely what's missing. That's why we don't have that discipline. That's why we don't have that structure. And until we decide to stop doing that, being more responsible, then yeah. And do I think most men are doing this? No. But the few men that are doing it are causing enough destruction for everyone, period. So I hold those type of men accountable. I'm sure a lot of the gentlemen on the panel hold those types of men, those few people who are really messing things up. And the one other thing we could do is educate ourselves. Everything is available on the internet now. Just like all that trash is available, there's so many different ways for us to collaborate with each other. We can reach each other. Like right now, we're all thousands of miles away from each other collectively, but we can still communicate. We can still mastermind. We can still build, right? We could still learn. You can learn so many things. You can learn a skill. There's plenty of people who've learned skills over the internet to be able to make that money so where they can actually support their family. I think that's what we really need.
All right, go ahead, Charles. When you hear the collapse of the black family, what does that mean to you?
Lack of self-accountability, lack of self-growth, subpar outcomes, bad choices. And, you know, this is one of those topics where I'm always torn, because I think if you look at the family as a business, right? If a business fails, the CEO, the owner, always has to take the blame. But when you look at the nuance of it, it's not always 100% at the leader's feet, right? And so that's the difficult part about analyzing who's at fault and how much fault or blame does each person get. But at the end of the day, Trev didn't use the words, but he summed it up beautifully. It comes down to self-accountability. We like to look at groups of people and come up with solutions for groups, but within each group, each particular person is an individual. So that just basically means each individual has to decide that they want to improve their lives. They want to do better, whether that's for themselves, for their wives, or for their children. And as individuals begin to make better choices, you see better group outcomes.
All right, go ahead, Willie. What does it mean to you? Collapse of the black family.
I just think it's the collapse of the black family with a black man and a black woman in it. And because, you know, black men are choosing to date outside of their race at a little higher clip. So that's also a issue that we're having as far as seeing black families. And then again, you know, it's the black men not being placed in leadership positions by default, and based on the quality of black men that we have, you know, sometimes, or what women view as leadership potential in black men. So that, and then aside, like you said, some of the dick discipline is also a pretty big deal.
All right, go ahead, Real Dope.
My stable.
Go ahead. I'm gonna see how it does go.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we get you.
I'm cool. All right. Honestly, I don't care. I don't care how it happened. I just know niggas need to, you know, get up and be confident and go get some money and go be in their kids' lives. I really don't care what happened, honestly. At this point, all I know is I know what they can do. I know what we can do right now. So yeah, I don't care about the past. I wasn't here. I just know that everybody got the ability to do what I'm doing.
Go ahead, MY.
Talk about the minority majority all
Did I,
the time. Can you hear me? I'm good. We talk about the minority majority all the time. Well, it seems like we will pull a minority statistic when it's bad and make it seem like it's the majority, and a majority statistic when it's good and make it seem like it's the minority. Like for instance, we'll focus on the the people below the poverty line, when it's less than 18% of Black men below the poverty line, and 54% are in the middle class. It's 1.8 million Black American millionaires. Of the Black men that do get married, 84% marry Black women. We are some of the most active fathers within nuclear families. Black men usually assist with changing diapers, feeding the children, with every aspect of the child rearing process. So we some of the most liberal men when it comes to that process in dealing with our women when in relationships. Do I think that it's in a vacuum and Black men just decided to? He used the example of slavery. We watched our women get raped and we stayed with them, so it's no excuse. And it's no one else's fault right after that. That's a crazy pair. Like that's like me saying I shot you up and you died eventually. It's nobody's fault you died. You should have survived. There's residual effects from traumatic harm, right? And I'm not to take any blame off the Black men who are doing this stuff, because I agree with everything all of y'all said, honestly. Like at this point in time, you have to say, forget everything that's ever happened when it comes to your family and stand on your square and make something happen and keep your family together. I 100% believe that, and I'm not taking any accountability from anybody when it comes to that. You shouldn't be having sex with, like Trev and Willie was saying, you shouldn't be having sex with women you don't, and busting in these women that you don't want to have children with, and then looking around like what happened when it goes bad, knowing that it was going to go bad from the beginning because you was horny. Yeah. When it comes to how our family structures are set up, I think that some of those stats may be skewed based off of co-parenting statistics. Because technically, somebody that does not marry the woman and live in the home with her, it could be it's not the ideal family, but that father may be active and present. So I think that gets overlooked as well. I think we got on this panel, if you make up the Black, if you just take this panel for an anecdotal example, you will have 3 married men who was in the lives of their kids from day one, and then another 3 or 4, and then another 3 who are in there from day one and may not be married. But the statistics would say that 50% of the Black fathers not in the home and don't take care of them, just using this panel. But that's not an accurate depiction of what's going on. Now, the people who are doing in that lower 18%, out of that, it's probably about 50% that are doing the BS. So less than 8% is having multiple kids with multiple baby moms and not taking care of them. But we can't universally paint that over Black men. Black men have been through systemic trauma as well as Black women, and we haven't been systemic trauma, and we are still building something while we're flying it. So to be hypercritical of us, I think is pointless and it's coon behavior in regards to Charleston.
All right, go ahead, Hank. When you hear the collapse of the Black family, what comes to mind?
Man, it's definitely a deep statement for sure. But I don't know, Mark. I'm not going to sit there and say I don't disagree with some of the things that Charleston said. Because I look, I know we all thought with the other head instead of the one we should have been thinking, one like, the one on your shoulders. We made those moves, we made those decisions, and fortunate enough, you didn't have the misfortune of having an oops baby because of it, but a lot of dudes did for whatever reason. But my thing is, it's 2025 now. They're really, with the knowledge we have, with the opportunities we have, with where we come from, and we know the past stories. Why do we continue these mistakes? Why do we continue making these decisions? That's the part that baffles me. You know what I'm saying? That's the part that really confuses me. I'm not a man who believes in divorce, but at the same time, you can't make individuals stay with you. You just can't. You can fight to the very end to try to hold your family together, to keep it together. Sometimes it just didn't work because more likely, probably should have never got together. And you might have got together for the wrong reasons. I know, like with me, I married my ex-wife because of my son, because I got her pregnant. So didn't want to do the same thing I did with my daughter. And I said, no, I'm not going to do that. So, I ended up marrying her. Now, we used to get was married for over 11 years. Even when I got a divorce, we still tried to come back together and make it work. It just didn't work. But as far as the men's part, we always going to be at fault because we're going to make the final decision. We chose to marry the women. We chose to get with her. We chose to deal with whatever we had to deal with, put up with whatever we put up, whether we agreed with it or not. We chose to do that. We had the choice. When we seen them red flags, we knew that woman was really the one for us, but we chose to still knock her down and drop that seed in her and get her pregnant. So now we crying and complaining about crazy ass baby mama. Well, dog, you knew she was crazy, but you liked them women that was a little crazy. You thought the crazy chicks had the best cat until she don't. And now you got to deal with what you got to deal with. So look, I'm just going to encourage fellas, just encourage your sons, teach your sons, educate your sons about, man, come together, making a family with your wife, not just some stray woman, but with your wife. Don't go out here just making a bunch of kids and you can't afford to take them. Don't do that. Teach your nephews, your younger brothers if you have them. If there's young men, your mentor, teach them. Let them know the mistakes of our forefathers that we did in the past and try to encourage them not to do the same thing. I think that's really what's going to help us to get back. Now, if your kids choose to date outside of race and you think that's part of the collapse, then that's a different story.
All right, let me play the rest of this clip.
How many nigga fix his own car? That's household.
Right. Okay. And I hear that a lot too. But do you think, is it based on today's economics?
Nope.
Is it?
They had less way back then, huh?
True. Things cost less too, right?
Well, if things cost less, how do nigga buy $200, $300 Michael Jordan tennis shoes and still behind on child support? How? How can niggas still buy ounces of weed? Throw money in a strip club, pop bottles? How?
Mm-hmm. But do you think that the money went farther than? No?
Nah, money ain't got nothing to do with this.
It's our mentality?
It's what's in the hearts of black men. They want pussy. They don't want the struggle of having to be a father and take care of this household. Nigga, they saw how hard it was on James Evans then. Them niggas want to be the niggas out in the streets, nigga looking pretty, clean. That's what the black man want. He don't want to be the struggle of a nigga. Nah, a nigga ain't want that, homie.
So you think black man can fix all this?
Nah, black man can't fix nothing. His children gonna have to fix it. Black man don't know nothing to fix nothing. He got to wake up every day and go get a job for the white man.
Right.
He don't know nothing to fix nothing. He don't know STEM. He don't even know the internet to fix nothing. His kids are smarter than him. And his kids can make more money than him. His woman been making more money than him. Mm-hmm. Nobody listens to the black man anymore. Because he's a liar. He been lying for too long, He been trying to play gangster. He been playing pimp. And he can't keep his word to nobody in his household. So nobody believes in him. The white man don't believe in him on the job. Nobody believes in the black man, He can't fix nothing.
Damn.
He can barely fix himself. That's why don't nobody believe in him. Because they looking at him, they been watching him, and they see he can't even fix himself, let alone his woman and children. That's why he walk away from his children, and he constantly disrespects his women. No other race does that.
Facts.
Yeah, so nobody will ever take us serious.
Damn. We gotta do something, don't we?
Ain't nothing we can do, Raise your children.
Raise your children.
That's it. Raise your children. That's it.
That's it.
That's the only thing to reverse this.
Be a father.
Raise them opposite of who you are.
So it started there with the next generation.
It started with, most definitely. Yeah, because we didn't just get here overnight.
Right.
All right. Got a question. If women are raising children alone, is that always her choice, or did men play a part in it? Let's open it up to the panel. It's popcorn style right now.
Look, I know. Like I guess me and Real Dope has a different philosophy on that part because we had a conversation. He said if you don't, if the woman emasculates him as a man, that he's not going to be around. And then if them kids don't, look, I might be messing up, Real Dope. My bad. You're here. You can correct me. I don't believe in leaving my kids. I've never have. I never will. I never believe in turning my back on my kids. You know, I may not agree with some of their actions or what they do or their beliefs at times, but don't mean I'm gonna turn my back on them. I'm gonna still be there for them. I always make sure I was there for them, make sure I took care of them. Because that's one thing as a man you should always have pride in is making sure you involved, not only just involved, make sure you are knowledgeable about everything and all things if possible. And unfortunately, you know what he's talking about is a certain type of man. You know, I don't think most men are deadbeats. Let's just say call it what it is. I don't think most men are that. I don't. I think most men want to be and involved as much as they possibly can. Now, financially, maybe they can't afford to do all the luxurious things they can, but that's something you got to explain to your kids and let them know, hey, I can't afford to do certain things, and it's not a bad thing if you can't. It doesn't make you less of a man or a bad father, nothing like that. It's just your financial thing. I mean, it's where you financially at right now. Doesn't mean 5 to 6 years down the road you won't hit. You won't get a better job. Won't get a better opportunity, so you can make more money and do those other things. That happened with my daughter. Her first 5 years of being on this beautiful earth, I financially I couldn't do certain things that I was able to do my son's whole life. I wouldn't. Because I was a 20-year-old father. You know what I'm saying? Barely out of college, being a substitute teacher and working at Dillard's in the shoe department, trying to raise her and pay my child support and do what I had to do until I got a different job and my certifications up and made more money. It wasn't to 10 years old, she started reaping the benefits. But then she was blessed. She got a bigger home, she got to sleep in her own room. My son never had to share a room for nobody, but my daughter did. Her and my ex-wife's daughter. So I mean, she never had no business until I was blessed and started making more money and doing those things. But that doesn't mean, you know, I wasn't making sure she was well taken care of as much as I could possibly afford. And I was making sure I was at every event that I could possibly be at whenever, you know, saying that I could get out there because she was staying in California at the time. And of course, I was here in Kentucky. So you just got to make sure you're involved. Just make sure you're involved as a man and take care of your business.
All right. Anybody else want to chime in on this one?
It's never always her choice or her fault, right? 2 people lay down, make a baby. 2 people are responsible for raising a baby. One thing that I know is difficult for us as men, but we do have to be better at is when women decide to go the court route, we have to be willing to fight those court battles, even though historically they don't turn out in our favor. And I say that from experience. Hank, my experience is similar to yours. I had my first daughter when I was 20 years old, right? And I have a total of 3 daughters. And so the father that I was at 20, 21, 22 is not the father that I am now at 42, right? And I'm talking about financially, I'm talking about the mentorship, the protect and provide. All of that stuff changes as you get older. That you shouldn't be the same father you are at 20 as you are at 40. But I just think it's difficult for men because you already know I've paid child support. I paid child support for 16, 17 years. And one of my regrets, I know when my oldest daughter was born, I just innately or inherently thought she'd be better off with her mother. That was just the thought that I had for many years. But then as I got older, I started to think, wow, how much did my oldest daughter miss out on by living an hour and a half, 2 hours away from me? I'm working, I can't see her as much, and all of that good stuff. So to answer the question directly, I personally would never just say it's all on the woman. Even in my own personal situation, I look at myself and say, oh, okay, I could have done better. Now, I have two younger daughters now too, 1 9 and 1 4. They live with me. So just by default, I'm here. By default, I'm the mentor. You understand what I'm saying? And so that's something that I carry with me, but I never look at my oldest daughter's mother and say, okay, it's all her fault. No, I carry a lot of that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, if a woman raising a child alone, is it always her fault? Did a man play a part in it? We play the bulk of the responsibility for that. We pursue, we select, we decide if we're gonna go on raw, we decide if we're gonna bust, and we decide if we really want to be with this person. So yeah, that's all on us. I'll take responsibility and accountability for that. But again, I harken back to Charles White needs some better friends. You need to be around some better people, because I'm remiss to find somebody I know that don't take care of their kids, whether they in the house or not. They don't try and make their kids the focal if they in the house or not. And that may speak to my friend circle or the people that I will even associate or talk with. But I don't see this large amount of deadbeats that I come in contact with. And I would say most of y'all don't either. So the stats don't support this. I just don't see it. I know that there are deadbeats out here. That's 100% true. But the conversation is framed black men with no qualifiers to make it seem as though all black men or most black men leave their kids, abandon them, and be deadbeats. And I do not believe that's true. I just don't. Somebody would have to show me. I just asked ChatGPT and it said the same thing. There's no quantifiable data to support the deadbeat case. There is data that says that of the people that are not custodial parents, black men are 13% more likely to have interactions with their children. But yet we the worst fathers in the world. I mean, that shit don't make no sense to me.
Hey, can I respond to NY right quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I agree with you. But what I would say is that you're not necessarily going to see the ones that aren't there. What you end up seeing is the effects of their absence, right? I spent 17 years in law enforcement, right, in the DC area. And every day they would send out emails of the people who had committed crimes. And almost every single time that somebody went to jail, I would say probably 95% of the time, you're talking to a young black kid and you're like, yo, where's your mom? Oh, well, my mom working. Well, where's your dad? I don't know my dad. Right. And so if the kids ain't seeing them, you ain't seeing them, I definitely ain't seeing them, but the outcomes are there. And that's the difficult thing to come to grips with. And it doesn't have to be. I think there's like a principle. They say you only need 10% of a population to create a movement, and that movement could be positive or negative. And one of the questions I used to always say to people is, okay, what percentage of people in the hood would you think are committing crimes? And people always say something less than 10%. They'll be like 5%, 2%, 3%. Then I'll be like, yeah, you're right. That means 95 to 96% of the people walking around here are just going about their daily lives, right? But the negative is so impactful that that's what ends up getting the attention. And it's so difficult to push back against a negative narrative, especially when that negative narrative goes back to time memorial. You know what I'm saying? So that's how it is.
So my response to that would be, I'm glad you added the quantifier of less than 10% that are creating this issue. I can't argue with that. I would agree with you on that. My issue is with framing it as if this is black men. If our collective ethnic representation is that we deadbeats who just gang bang, sell drugs, and commit all the crime in every neighborhood. That's kind of dangerous rhetoric, because for the other 95% of the people that come in contact with, that's plastered across with no counter narrative to fight against that. So I'm out with my 3 kids. I'm getting ready to leave them and go sell some drugs to somebody. Like, no, that's not what's happening, bro. And I'm not negating that you running into those people that's doing that don't know their father. They probably got the same father. You know what I'm saying? They did shit for none of them. But if it's like, I can't say all women are filing domestic abuse fake reports. That'd be the equivalent of somebody putting a fake grape case on somebody, and us saying all women just put grape cases on people. That's all they do. They run around. These women, they put grape cases on people. That's not true. So why is it okay to say it about us when there are people who do it?
Do we care what people think about us collectively? Like, I know
Not
Real
really.
Dope pretty much
Not
was
really.
like, yo, I don't care. I'm about to just go do what I do, and however y'all feel is how y'all feel. I'm about to go get it.
I really don't care, but if I'm gonna have a discussion about, like, I promise you, I would never be around talking about, the black man, and that's not a conversation I have, because I don't be around those type of people. But when I come on a panel, I'm gonna discuss what the topic is. I sigh like, this shit again, but like that's my response to this.
So,
Right, I got
so
you.
Charles, do you think it matters? What people think about us? Do you think it matters?
Yeah, I do, because it has an effect on future outcomes.
Right, and how we're
Right.
treated.
Because you're not asking me specifically, like, Charles, do you care? I'm kind of like Real Dope. Like, I'm about to just go do what I do. I'm not gonna let any narrative stop me from doing what I do. But I'm not so into my own experience to say that a narrative doesn't have an effect on a current generation and a future generation.
Right.
So
Yeah,
it does
and
matter.
nobody wants it to consume you, right?
Right.
But I just don't want anybody to get confused and think that it doesn't matter, because how we're going to be treated in society, it matters, right? How we're looked at, I think it really matters, right? Just for our sake, for our children's sake, for our lineage, it makes sense. We want to be treated fairly. We don't want to have those types of stigmas. I'm sick of seeing it. I'm sick of hearing it. I'm sick of us being at the bottom of the barrel, not because we suck, but because people say we suck, right? I think that's bullshit. And, there's definitely some room for improvement. There's some things that we definitely have to do better, but it's not nearly as bad as people try to make it seem, right? It's so exaggerated. We have these caricatures, and now the most recent attack is the AI attack, where they have completely used our data that we fed them over the years against us. They completely weaponized it to make us look like straight up buffoons, and they're getting away with it. There's no regulation, right? If they were doing that about another group, what do you think would happen? What do you think would happen if they did that? There's 2 groups that they would never do that to, ever, right? They wouldn't just do that AI and those posts stay up. Them shits
Who
would have
those
been
two
down.
groups?
They would have been described as hate speech,
I
and it
know
would
one of
never
those
happen.
groups, but who the other group?
What you say, Rainbow?
I said I know one of the groups, but who's the other group you talking about?
Yeah, Marcus, right?
Oh, so would you say Marcus? I see you. I know that one.
You can't,
What's the other one?
Rainbow. You can't do
Oh,
it. You can't do that. You can't do that. You won't survive. You won't survive. So that's what I'm saying, and it affects the way that we're treated, the way we're looked at, how much police pull us over, and shit like that. Right? If we're perceived negatively in society, then it could really be detrimental to us, especially when our sons are getting pulled over by the police and they have this idea of what and who we are, these preconceived ideas. It ain't cool.
Yeah. Got another question. Why do men expect women to have no kids but think it's fine for men to have kids from other women?
ooh, I like this question. I like this question. Who want to go? Y'all want me to go? I can go.
Go ahead.
All right. Yeah. it's not the same because if we're I don't tell people don't date women with children because they're less than a person, right?
Hold
I
on,
tell
Dope. I
them
don't want you to get into it. You kind of coming in and breaking up. Are you close to the mic?
say that one more time.
Yeah, it's kind of coming in choppy and like robotic a little bit. So if you use it on the car, maybe
Come back.
no, maybe take it off the car and then just use the phone. As far as I'm not sure if you're using the car microphone.
Yeah, it's your signal, bro. It's just that's all it is, bro. Just drop and come back. No, that's still bad, bro. Okay,
How to
connect
Yeah,
to
turn
your
the
if
camera?
once you drop on and come back, refresh that IP,
connect to
you
your
should be all
car
right.
Wi-Fi.
Either do that or turn the camera off. Sometimes you get a little bit more bandwidth when you turn the camera off and just use the audio only.
But I think what he's about to say is that it's not the same when a man has children as compared to a woman. Because a woman dating a man with children, she has to do significantly less for those children than that man will have to do for a woman's children if he was dating her. That woman just comes in and she just gets to, be like the cool auntie, stepmom role. She's not responsible for the kids financially. She's not responsible for the kids mentally. She adds to it because the father tends to take care of those things. Because if he has his kids, he's a father that's providing for them without the mom anyway. So he's a custodial parent. With a woman, when you date a woman with children, you're taking financial responsibility for that household that those kids are in. And you're also going to be responsible for the upbringing of those kids too. So the kids need clothes, you got to take care of that. The kids need food, you're going to feed them. The kids have problems at school, you're going to be doing that as well, especially if the other father isn't involved, or it's just you have one of those situations where he can't be involved in your household because of how you run your house. So when a man is dating a woman with kids, he takes on, I would say, 10 times the responsibility as a woman does when she's dating a man with kids.
I was going to say, it just if I could ask one question, I would ask, what is a woman's role inside of a household, and can she do that role with somebody else's children? And then I would ask, what is a man's number one role within a household with children and a family? And then I would ask, can he do that with a woman with children? And I would say, when it comes to children, his number one role is being a disciplinarian. You can't do that with somebody else's kids. 9 times out of 10, they're not letting it. The woman not gonna let it happen, or the dad not gonna let it happen. So that right there, is one of the biggest aspects of what you can't do, of why a man shouldn't, of why a man should take strong, to think hard, think thoroughly about being with a woman with kids. It's completely different. Like, there's no financial responsibility. If you're with the type of man that women say they want, there's no financial responsibility. The only thing that you got to do is, like Willie said, you pretty much be the cool auntie. Like, it's 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 not that women with children are less than. Um, it's that the things that the things that you should consider realistically as a man. It's just the ROI is completely different as a woman. Like, my girl, I take care of her and my kids. Like, I take care of all of them. Um, so all she do is receive. Like, you don't stop receiving when you with a man who got kids versus vice versa. I'm not. What am I receiving if I'm with a woman with kids? All I'm doing is taking care of more kids. Like, I got 3 kids, so some people look at it like, oh, you got kids, you should date people with kids. So let's say in they world, I should date somebody with 3 kids like me. Okay, so I got to take care of 6 kids and another person. How does that sound ideal? It makes more sense to not to take care of just a woman with no kids. That sounds most advantageous for me of what of something that I would do. But yeah, it just comes down to the financial aspect, and also you can't even be a man inside of that house most likely.
Hey, Dope, I know you're a little bit younger, so would you say that it's a little bit easier for you versus someone that was older? So let's just say like 45-year-old you and you were single. Would you be open to the possibility of dating someone with kids then?
I'm not saying that I'm not open to it now. I never did it. But I'm not one of them people that say I would never do it. There's certain things that I would need if I would do it. Like for one, I would need to I gotta be able to discipline your kids, or else it's not even gonna work out. I'm not gonna treat my kids one way and then treat the other kids inside of the house another way. That means that they pretty much is doing what they want to do, and my kids got to get their ass whooped when they do something wrong. Like I don't agree with that. So I'm not saying that I wouldn't do it. Everything would just have to line up perfectly for me to do something like that. But if I was older, I'm pretty sure kids would be older. Like if I was older, if I was like my 45 or something like that, it would probably be standard for me to date a woman with kids, most likely.
Yeah, I could sum it up with a leader can have many followers, but a follower can't have many leaders. And if Ben are in the leadership role, everything Real Dope said falls in line with that.
I kind of got a different perspective on the question. I feel like men can really only answer the first half of the question, and it simply just comes down to preference, like Willie and Real Dope basically explained. I personally don't care how many kids any man has, for the most part, because I'm not trying to get with him, so it doesn't matter. That the second part of the question would really have to be directed towards women. Why are women okay with men that have kids? Because a man can't really tell you that. Not a straight guy.
Well, let me say this to you. Because most people with no kids dating a person with kids, most people without kids don't understand the day-to-day. First things first. Most of them are selfish because they only have to worry about them and them alone. I don't care if you're a man or woman, it doesn't matter. Everything moves around you. You're going to go whenever you want to, do what you want to at any time. All of a sudden you date an individual with kids. Now the lifestyle going to change. But sometimes them individuals don't understand that. They feel like, oh, it should be all about me. Well, I can't. I have a child or our children. You know what I'm saying? So, you got to kind of adjust that. As far as women who date men, look, I'm surprised because women are more selfish than anything. Men are selfish, but they're kind of understanding, right? But women, no, most women that I've seen and know is not doing what Real Dope's future wife is doing. Dating a man with kids, nah, because they want it all about them, and it can't be. And now she had to have a level of understanding that she's never had to do before. It's a level of not being selfish and being more having some more sympathy. Not only that, if this dude got a crazy baby mama, now she has to deal with that drama because that shit's gonna be brought to her attention in her life, and now she has to deal with that. I said this before. I don't know, man. As far as me and my preference, I had no problem dealing with a woman with kids because I had a child. So we could both have an understanding that when our kids are around, we got to do certain things or certain things we can't do. We can't go certain places for whatever reason. Compared to me dating a woman with no kids, and I got to, explain to her, well, why you got to do this, why you got to do, why you always got to go get your daughter in this, because it's my daughter. And now she's feeling some type of, well, I feel like she's getting all the attention. Well, it's not the case. But there's going to be times where she needs me and I have to do certain things. And it can't be dealing with you and going out with you or taking you there, all doing this on a regular basis. I still have a child that I got to take care of. Another thing, you said something about discipline. Dude, you could be married to your wife and her stance on discipline is not corporal punishment. She don't believe in spankings. Compared to you, that's what you believe. And so you could have her in a fight within your own household because y'all have two different styles of discipline. So, I definitely understand what you're saying, well, you got to treat your child different from that child. Well, no, dog. Some of those things you got to make sure you establish when you dating an individual with kids. How they discipline the kids, how they correct the kids. How do you feel about me disciplining the kids? How do you feel about how I train your kids, talk to your kids, and educate your kids, or do certain things with your kids? Those things you need to establish from the jump before you get in. You know, like I shared before, I had that conversation with my wife and the kids. She had to let them know, just like I had to let my son know, hey, this is what it is, though. Don't disrespect. You know how to be respectful, how to be considerate, be nice and cordial. She had to have that same conversation before we even got together, before we thought about getting married. That conversation had to have, because if it wasn't going to work. Because please believe you me, kids can't ruin a relationship. I know y'all think your little Johnny would never do something to run that man off. But if he's a goddamn asshole, if he's always got something going on, always going to try that man, and that man's going to have to, may want to put hands on little Johnny because little Johnny getting the fuck out of hand. Yeah, it can. So I'll leave it there.
Yeah. I think the main reason people aren't doing that, which Real Dope touched on that subject a bit, is men are expected to take the brunt of the responsibility. Like once you step into the role of stepdad, that's it. Now that is the women really let you know. Oh well, you're gonna have to treat these kids like they your own, and that's what's expected. Whereas men aren't really beasting like that for a woman to jump in. Of course, you would aid in some things that might be convenient, but they're not really telling you, especially financially. The only thing I'm kind of confused about is we're getting a lot of mentions about disciplining the children. I can't really see that being an issue unless we're talking about corporal punishment. I mean, is that what we're doing? Is that what we're talking about, corporal punishment? Because if I'm saying, all right, look,
yeah,
I'm taking this away, I'm taking that away, is that what we're doing? Corporal punishment?
Well, I think that when it comes to disciplining kids, like I probably don't even remember the last time I put my hands on my kids. However, that threat is always there. That threat is always there. The option is always there. Like even when it comes to like being a leader in your relationship, like, and at the end of the day, your woman ultimately will have to do what you say. However, can't even remember a time where I had to put my foot down with my woman and be like, yo, I don't care what you think. This is how this is going to go. Even though the underlying big red button is there that I have that, I can use that. However, it rarely ever comes up in reality, because I raised my kids a certain way. So they already know I don't play with daddy. But it's different when you go into another situation with somebody that's not your kids. I know a family member of mine and her children disrespect they stepfather to the point that it got so deep that the kids called their dad over and they got into a fight. He whooped their dad though, but they got into a fight because her son was disrespecting him, and it went so long he couldn't put his hands on the son. And finally, one day, he gripped him up a little bit, and he got into a fight with his father. But I think that that underlying threat should always be there. Like, yo, you might get roughed up a little bit if you don't do what this person said.
All right, let me ask you guys this question. Why do men say they want good women but still chase women they don't see as a wife material?
Sex. That's pretty much what it's behind. And unfortunately, I'll tell you this: a lot of men make this mistake, right? I think a lot of us, maybe not a lot of us, but a good portion of us have made this mistake before. Whereas we'll try to build a woman, right? Where you will see one thing you really like she might have an ultra fatty or something like that, or she might have something that's extremely attractive to you that you feel like is next level, and you kind of want that to be a part of your life from now on. But everything about this broad is messed up otherwise. So you feel like, nah, but if I could just get this right, then we gonna be good. If I could just get this right, then we're gonna be good. And a lot of us let that attraction get in the way, right? Women are usually more guilty of this, but there's a lot of men doing that where we'll just get with a joint because we know she bad and we probably don't have access to women like that on a regular basis. The men who behave like this, right? So the first joint they get like that, they tolerate a lot of nonsense they wouldn't. They'll let her talk to him crazy, like they probably wouldn't before. They will let her abuse him, whether it be financially, emotionally, like they would not normally, just because they feel like that level of attraction that they have to her. And when you try to fix women like this, when you see the red flags are there and then you ignore them, you're going to regret it. I can tell you for sure, you're going to regret it. Do not try to fix people. Do not give people the benefit of the doubt, right? I understand trajectory. I understand potential. But those are different. When people show you who they are, believe them the first time. You can't fix people. People who disagree with you fundamentally, you can't try to force your will on them. Stop trying to change people. That's the worst thing you can ever do in your life. Do not chase anything. Do not chase body parts. Do not chase a good look. Too many men have fell. Empires have been lost behind beautiful women. Stop it.
It's easy to say that when you get bitches, though.
I hear you. But is it wrong? Is anything that I said wrong? I know it's easy to say that.
It's not wrong.
I'm
but
never.
You probably had some bad bitches before, and there's a lot of niggas out here who thirsty for it. They ain't never had it yet.
Bro, all right, so here's the thing, right? Couple things you got to know about me. I'm not one of the dudes who came out of the womb of Mac. I've said it here a lot, but it's true. I had to learn. I had to build in order to get my shit off, right? It didn't just happen like that. Go ahead.
I got a question for you, Troy. But have you been more of the Mac longer than you were the not Mac?
Well, I'm 46 now, so
that's my
next month.
Which would
so yeah, I get it, and it's easy to say, but it's still the right thing to say, right? So then if that's, would you counter that argument? Would you now say, go ahead and chase the fat ass, go ahead and chase them tatas, or go ahead and let this chick talk to you crazy because she ain't got no gag reflex? Is that what we should be doing? Is that what we're doing?
No. I would say that I can't accept this question or this assertion is made saying that men say they want good women but chase the bad ones. Men want to marry good women, we fuck the bad ones. No one is chasing. Most of the dudes out here that can get women aren't chasing bad bitches. Like, as far as like trying to pursue them, we entertain them because they give us something, in the short term, in the interim, until we find someone worth committing to long term. It's almost like, you find a part-time, you lose your job and you find a part-time job to make, to do the best you can until you can get a better job. It's the same principle. None of us desirable men are out here going to try to get bad bitches and then just like chase them, marry them, and treat them the way that we treat good women. Because again, let's not just pretend hoes are useful. I'm saying we to men, especially in the physical sense. I'm saying hoes are also useful when it comes to keeping a man from doing something else. Like, if you have the option to fuck between two bitches, you can fuck a bad bitch and you can fuck a regular bitch, and you have equal access to both. Even though you're not gonna marry either one of them, you're not gonna fuck the regular bitch. You're gonna fuck the bad bitch 10 times out of 9 because it's just she's a quote unquote bad bitch. But we're not chasing bad bitches ever. None of us are doing that. And the guys who are the ones who they don't know better because those bad bitches are the best they can do. So they can't get a good woman who's also a bad bitch. So they got to take the first bad bitch they can get.
No, I get it. But you just did what Real Dope just said I did, where you addressed where we're not chasing them, but most men ain't in your position, right? So the average person is chasing that if they get access to that shit. The average dude is letting females who look good get over on them. That's why these women act so unruly.
I agree with you. I agree with you wholeheartedly. Okay. I'll concede that point. But again, why are we talking about the niggas who don't matter? Because the
who don't matter?
No, I say they don't matter because these women don't want to date them. These women aren't. The reason why they're acting unruly with them is because they know that they're not the type of guy they want. We give so much consideration to a lot of men who are losers, whose voices shouldn't matter on topics like this about finding a partner. Because the reason why is because women don't want them. So if women don't want these niggas, why are we listening to them?
Nah, man, we can't do it like that.
Why not?
Because all right, check it out. I don't think anybody on this whole panel needs this advice. Most people in your position don't need this advice. They don't even need to have this conversation. I think that the conversation needs to be had for the average person, most people, right? The majority of people. I don't want to call them losers and shit like that. I mean, because that's our uncles, our brothers, like some of our fathers and shit. You know what I'm saying? And just because they haven't reached their pinnacle doesn't mean that they're a loser. Not everybody's meant to be elite. Most people are always going to be average, and I think we're doing ourselves a disservice by degrading them like that. Like, I think everybody should have a fair shake at it, right? And I get it. A lot of women don't want them dudes, but there are women for those dudes. If those dudes work on themselves and bring themselves to their brightest potential possible, then they will be able to acquire women too. One dude might be short, but then we could get him right with his paper. We could teach people charisma, certain little things that'll put you in better positions so you could get married. The average person generally does end up with the average woman does generally end up with the average man. And I don't think that we should negate them like that.
I don't think that when he's talking about losers.
Yeah, I'm not trying to degrade it. I'm characterizing their circumstances. I'm not. So that's where we disagree. There's two things. You said like degrade them. I'm characterizing their circumstances. And in the dating market, they are losers. Hands down, because they're not winning. So if you're not a winner, you're a loser. The second place where we disagree is that everybody doesn't deserve a fair shake in the dating market. You get based on you are entitled to what you earn, like the work you give, right? The value that you can bring to a woman is we're saying how you can basically, look at where your worth is. If you have all the things that women are looking for, right? The 6 foot, all that other shit, right? You have all the things women are looking for. You have an advantage to win. Then you actually going out there and getting women is you winning. So I'm not saying that men are losers overall. Mind you, remember, we're speaking to a specific issue, which is dating. Men saying they want good women, but then chase the ones they don't see as wife material. That's what I'm talking about. And to women, in that regard, the majority of men are losers. Because last time I checked, 80% of niggas that women don't even see as visible, and then there's 20% that do. 80 is greater than 20. So if
Willie, can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
Have you ever been a loser?
Yeah.
I've been a loser before too. It's not a permanent position, guys.
At all.
Like you don't always have to be lame. You don't always have to be a loser. That's that's the only reason that I even say these words, because I know you can change it.
If we're going off of like not being, just who came out there saying they daddy balls winning, to be honest, the only nigga on here is M. White. Like I'm saying, you look at his story, he just came, he's one of them ones who just in position and shit just came to him. You know what I'm saying? Like we've all heard, his accolades and everything, so that's fire. But that's not the story of most men. Most of us had to work our way to get here. Some of us do it earlier, some of us have an easier path to it, but we all have to work towards, not being a loser. Being a guy that I'll just make it personal for me. Being a guy who's 6 foot is cool, right? But again, 6 foot is the difference between 6 foot to these 5'3" trolls and women is like I'm 5'7" basically. If you're not 6'2" or 6'3", you're the highest is like there's no in between 5'10" after that, right? So I get it, but then you have to add, the education, accolades, the status, the ability, the physical prowess, the intellectual prowess, intellectual confidence, all those things women looking for in a man. I have to earn those things, right? That's not stuff I have to go do the work to get those things to be desirable. The majority of men aren't even in position to do that because they don't have the certain genetic gifts that we all have, being saying taller people. And White is fucking 7 feet tall. You 6'15". Dope is 6'11". I think Hink's a pretty big nigga too. So yeah, it may not be as easy for other niggas to get to where we were, but it's still not impossible. So
wait, the point that I was talking about, I don't think that if you don't put in the work that you deserve a shake in the dating market. I said a fair shake if to the knowledge, right? So because not everybody has the knowledge, right? A lot of us didn't have the dads or the OGs to pull their coat and shit like that. So I figured the one thing that we could, as people who may have at least be considered to have crossed over to the W side of things, where we could be like, yo, let me pull your coat, let me give you some game. I think they deserve a fair shake of knowledge. That's the only point that I was making with that. But yeah, until you put in the work, you're gonna take L's, and you got to expect it too.
I'll concede that point. Let's say like we did a panel, right, and we're all in person. I'm gonna look
Yeah.
like I'm 5'9" compared to all you fucking, and I'm 6 feet tall, like 72 inches of height. So I'd have to sit next to saying one of you short niggas on the opposite end of the panel because I don't look like your little fucking brother, right? We went out to take pictures. All of my friends are 6'4" to 6'8" too. So when we go out, I'm the camera nigga. I don't want to take pictures with y'all. So y'all can be like, damn, who was your big ass son y'all brought to the club? Right? I get that. But then at the same time, there are guys who really are 5'7". There are guys who really are
Right.
5'5", and that's the ceiling for them. Like my youngest son may be 5'6". So I'm just gonna make sure he got a bunch of money and then some game and some, he can dress so he can say actually he has a better chance because he's gonna be competing with y'all kids, right? So it's not the fair shake of information. I mean, no one is keeping information from anybody. All the information with this internet, the way this shit going, you can go access the information. The problem is that the majority of these men will never be an experience, will never get to experience or have the opportunity to make the information they do get actionable because for the simple fact they don't meet women's default qualifications. And average men understand they're average. These average bitches don't. They think if you call a woman average, you almost like you're insulting her. You might as well say her pussy stink or some other outwardly egregious shit because they don't believe they're average. And what women
They don't have to.
huh?
It's not their reality.
Well,
We
that's the
are
thing,
forced to understand it because we face rejection way
the
way
world
more than
rejects
women do.
us.
So we
Men face rejection in every phase of life more often
right,
than not. We hear
and
10
men
times
hold
the
each other
no's we hear
accountable.
the yeses. But women think because they can fuck somebody, like they can say they can fuck a Trev or they can fuck a Dope or M White, that's who they deserve as like to treat them
Right.
like to wife them. And that's just not how it goes. But then niggas know, they know when they get lucky and hit and crack a bad bitch.
And
Like
they
know
got,
that
they know they
shit.
got that off.
Listen, she must have
That's
been,
it.
you know what I'm saying? She was bored. I caught her on a rebound. I had that
Right.
shit on. So, I got lucky. Niggas know that. Women never feel like, oh yeah, I got lucky because I fucked 3 athletes this weekend. Nope, they never think that. Like they never think, oh, okay, well I just did fuck 3 top 1% niggas in a weekend. They don't ever think I'm lucky. They think that they're owed that because they're, to them they're a bad bitch.
All right.
Y'all know.
I do want to switch it back. Let me try to get us back. If a man cheats or leaves, can he still call himself a good man?
Cheats or leaves?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He ain't beat her ass. He ain't steal from her. Like, not trying to be funny, but cheating is one of the many things you can do to somebody. Now, I would say that it's probably better if he, shows remorse, asks for forgiveness, takes accountability for it. But just because he does that one thing, those things aren't character killers. Those things you're saying, they're character traits, they're character descriptors. You can characterize his behavior as those things. But I think that the majority of niggas we think are good men have cheated on someone before, if not left them. One of the things this panel shares in common is that the majority of us have done the majority of leaving in our relationships. We're not the ones getting dumped. We're not the ones getting cut off. We're not the ones, getting alienated. We're not the ones getting, pushed to the left. So this question would mean that we're all not good men because we leave women that no longer serve us. We leave situations that no longer benefit us. We leave situations where the outcome is not getting us to what we think is our line or our pre-identified purpose. And I don't think that's an assertion that we should accept.
Are we talking about leaving a family, or are we talking about just leaving a girl who y'all not aligned?
We can tie it into the family. Let's say you created a family, and
Okay.
the outcome was you cheated or you left. Can you still call yourself a good man in that situation?
I think absolutely. Well, from my worldview, I don't necessarily believe in like staying together for the kids or until the kids get out of high school, and I don't believe in that stuff. I believe in you guys have a relationship, and I think that you abide by certain rules. And I think if somebody breached those rules, and leave, find somebody who I mean, of course, I do believe in working things out. But if you guys just have some issues that you just can't, you guys have some gridlocked issues, some inherent differences, don't be with that person. If you don't want to, that's my worldview. I don't think that you should keep it together for the kids. The kids will be fine. Um, you know, so yeah, you can absolutely leave but I'm not talking about leaving for the reasons that girls leave. Like you just bored, that's gay. But you know, other serious things that matter, absolutely. Like I don't think you're a bad guy. Now cheating, that was a bad decision, and I think you need to reevaluate yourself and moving forward and just kind of do some deep work. However, I don't think that will mark you as a bad man forever. You did make a bad decision, and you in that relationship, you probably were the reason that it failed. But I don't think it makes you a bad man necessarily, unless you consistently do it and don't care.
All right.
Yeah, speaking of somebody that cheated when I was younger, that was a character flaw back then. I have since corrected that pattern of behavior, and honesty is the best policy. And I think if you're gonna leave, you should leave before you make the relationship intertwined forever. Meaning before you get married, before you have kids. I think we need to normalize man leaving. So not normalize leaving a family, but normalize leaving when you like, this not gonna serve me because for whatever reason, I see major flaws in this relationship moving forward. And if I can't correct them, it's a waste of my time and this person's time. And you don't want to hold them hostage when they could be either improving that thing or finding somebody that appreciates whatever that flaw is. Because there are people for other people if you're not specifically for me or any other men on the panel. So yeah, I think leaving should be normalized. I think they should remove the shame off of men breaking up relationships because it's not fair to that woman for her to be in a relationship and you're dissatisfied and now she feels less than and her self-esteem is taking hits and attacks because it's something she either didn't change or doesn't want to change or whatever. And the man is I don't know if y'all ever had a conversation with yourself where you like, man, and I don't even have to say nothing else. You know what I'm talking about, right? That whatever that thing is, you in your mind like, this ain't for me. I don't, but a lot of times men will just stay in a relationship. Instead of saying, you know what, I'm gonna do her a favor, do myself a favor, and cut it off. And maybe y'all come back together later in life. But if the thing that's not for you is still there, it's not for you. So yeah, but I'm not an advocate of people leaving their family. I think that it's like a jail sentence. Once you done create the child, you might as well do your time.
Marcus, could I ask you a question? Could I ask you a question, Marcus?
Yeah.
So, let me ask you this. Do you think if you were less of a man that you'd be in a position to have women accept you dip in another vajayjays or no?
My internet breaking up.
Oh shit.
Well, I disagree with the his I think he probably don't he can get off.
Nah, it's all good. So let me ask you then that real dope. Let me ask you the same. Could you answer the same question?
What would
Do you think?
it's
Do you
excellent.
think? Do you think? Yeah, I only asked him because you just made the point. But I'm gonna ask you the same question. Do you think that, let's say, you probably could get a female to accept it if you wanted to dip into another vajayjay? No.
Absolutely.
Right. Do you think if you were less of a man that you would be able to pull that same shit off?
When you say less of a man, what do you mean? You mean shorter? What do you what do you mean?
Whatever would make you a little less desirable to females to make you by average.
Yeah, absolutely. I think when it comes to women, I think a lot of times, the more they like you, the more they're willing to give up things.
Right.
Um,
So if let's say you couldn't do that, would you still try to do that?
would I still try to do it if I couldn't do it? I mean, it's easy to
Yeah.
say what I would try to do if I was shorter and women didn't like me, and it's easy to say what I would
Okay.
do,
So
but
let's say, because you said you were a loser before, right?
yeah,
So let's
yeah,
say
yeah.
you were still a loser. Would you still try to do that or no?
Oh hell no! I'm talking about when I was 18, my first girlfriend, like and all that type of like.
Okay. Okay. So you
Yeah,
wouldn't
she
even
wouldn't have been
try
like
it.
that.
So, because what I'm saying is, do you feel like certain men should be entitled to it and then certain men couldn't? Because I think, in all honesty, I think every single man, if they were in a position to, would be honest, but most men aren't. Does that make their character any less because they don't qualify for the woman's metrics? Does that automatically make you less your character less just because you aren't in a position to do the exact same thing that other cats is doing?
Yeah, I think it does.
It lessens your character because
Yeah,
you don't
you gotta, cause I
qualify to
think,
do it.
cause for one, like that's kind of like the girl mentality is like, they think they deserve everything, no matter what, no matter what you look like, no matter what you did, no matter nothing. And I think as men, like I understood inside of which job where I was the man, where I could come in late whenever I wanted to, versus where I wasn't in that position at that job where it's like, oh, I gotta kind of play by the rules, you know. Um, you get, yeah, that's a part of your character is understanding what you actually do deserve. You know, what are the
So
numbers you bringing in? And it's,
you do believe that a man is not a good man if he's not able to cheat based on a woman's metrics. So based on
oh
how this
no, no,
particular woman
no.
feels
I
about you,
think you're not a good man in general if you're lying. At least you're not being a good man in that moment. Like if you can't be honest.
got it. The reason I say that is because I think this is something that a great portion of men would like to do, right? Most men won't have the opportunity to, and it's a fraction of men who are going to be able to say that they are actually telling a homegirl that this is what I'm going to do, and you're going to accept it. But if left to our own devices, most men would be like, "Yeah, fuck that. That's what I'm doing. We good though, right?" And that's what we would do. But most men aren't afforded that opportunity. So it's to
I
me,
think they
it's the
have the
same exact
opportunity.
mindset.
I
No,
think I think people. So I think that's because you're trying to date up. Like date girls who think that you're something. Like if that makes sense.
okay,
Like date the women who look
no,
at
no,
you
no. That's
like,
that's
damn, this
that's
nigga.
valid. That's valid. That's valid. But the problem is that the bar has been raised so high, and the amount of men that women will accept that from has gotten lowered. There is some validity to what you're saying, but what I'm saying is most women don't view men on that plane in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Like unless you like one of them really them guys where you got all your shit, right? Where you are, the blessed type, where you do have the charisma, which doesn't come naturally, by the way, where you do have the looks, the money, all that shit. I don't think it's pretty much a point where most men will never reach. So, but it's the same mindset, right? Just like when you get hungry, you want to eat. I get hungry, I want to eat. Men would typically do the same thing if left to their own devices. So I think it's wrong to demonize them for feeling the same way that somebody else does. And most men don't cheat, to be honest, but it's just strictly because of opportunity. So to define a good man is where the confusion comes in for me, to say whether he's good or not, based on him wanting to do the same exact thing that all men want to do, or not all men, but the majority of men would love to do.
Um, yeah, I characterize it by like, I think that you're not being a good man in that moment, but you're not finished growing, you know. So I won't say that a man who's cheated is not a good man, but in that moment and while you in that space, you know you're not on that level yet, you know, and it's you got to be real with yourself. I remember when I used to watch Kevin Samuels a little bit, like when he used to kind of break down what a high value man was, I was like, oh shit, I like that. I want to be there. Like he said, oh, I thought I had money. He's like, no, you need money, you need this, you need that. I'm like, oh shit, okay, yeah, I need that. I want all of that. Like I want to, I want it to grow to be that what he said it, what he said it was. So, I believe you can grow. It's not just about who you are in the moment. Like make plans on
Yes.
growing and try and get better.
So, all right.
But in White, I disagree with that. What you said when you said, I don't having kids with somebody is not a life sentence. That is not being attached to somebody for life. It is not at all. Like your kids get older, and they become adults, and you do not have to really ever see that person. Like, and if you do see that person, you see them infrequently. You'll probably see them once a year, if that. I don't think it's a life
So
sentence having a kid with somebody.
so my perspective on it is like, say I get booked for a murder or something, and I got to do 18 years. I'm just gonna take my time. Like I'm not about to be like, well, he was with me, or find a, you know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna take my time. So I kind of look at it the same way. If I impregnate somebody and there's potential for me to be in the kid's life, I kind of look at it from that same aspect. Like, shit, I'm gonna do what's necessary to make sure I'm in the kid's life, however much, whatever I gotta take, because there's an L that I took if this isn't something I wanted to do.
But
That's
what
what
if
I
you could
mean.
be
And
in
I'm not
the
saying you gotta stay with them for the rest of their life.
But
I'm
what
saying
if
as
you
long
can
as
be in the kid's life without having to be with that person?
hopefully that works, but what if she gets another man and now you gotta go by the parenting rules of that father? Like, I don't want to be in a situation where I have to ask permission to parent my kids or see them. So I'm coming from that perspective.
Okay, yeah, because it's ways you don't have to do that. No, matter of fact, I don't think you're the type of guy that even would have to play by those rules. I don't play by them rules. Willie don't play by them rules. You know, them like, oh, the women calling the shots situation. I don't think you would be in that situation.
I
For
don't think
one,
so either. I
for
don't think
one,
so
like
either.
I never dealt with women who, at any point in our relationship, felt like they were the leader at all. They understood their position, their place, and after getting out of a relationship, they don't look at you. Well, some guys, I don't know about other guys, they don't look at me that much different. As the stature they looked at me, when I was in a relationship with them. Now, if you choosing women who wild and who cursing you out in the relationships and all that type of stuff, it's gonna get worse after that. But that's not I was never in those type of relationships where women was curt. They knew not they couldn't call me out my name. Um, they knew that I was the leader and all that type of stuff. So um, they all get a little bit weird. They had their moments, right? That's how women are. They had their moments, but however, for the most part, it's a breeze. My woman don't have to see them. She don't have to talk to them. You know, um, rarely ever. But if she ever has to, it's cool. But it's a breeze. It's not really a lot at all. It's so smooth.
So in general, my perspective comes from my childhood and how much I view it necessary for the parents to be there, man and woman.
Hmm.
So that's the perspective I'm coming from, rewriting something from my life. So I universally apply that. You know what I'm
Did you
saying?
did you
I'm
have your
not I'm
mom
not
and
pointing a finger saying anybody else's. I'm talking about for
yeah?
me specifically. This is how I view that.
Did you have your mom and dad in your life? Both
My
in the same dad in the same house?
my mom and my father was married. My father died when I was like in second grade,
Got you.
and I had to raise myself type shit. So
Okay, got you.
Let me ask y'all this question right here. When a relationship fails, how do you figure out your share of the blame?
It's 50 fucking percent. There's only two people in that motherfucker, so it's half your fault is half theirs. That's basic math. Like, you want me to sit there and be like, well, technically, it's actually 6.7333 repeating, of course. Her percent is her point because she did two things to fuck the relationship up, and I did one. No, both of you niggas failed. So if you're in a relationship that failed, half of that shit is on you, half of that shit is on them. Like, the only people I think we're going to try to make the math or try to, assign blame are probably going to be women. Because with us, when we fail, we just like, fuck it. All right, I know what I did wrong, but relationship's over with. Cool. We self reflect. You know what I'm saying? Bro, like you said, he cheated when he was young. Um, I prioritize business and peace, you know what I'm saying, over being, married and struggling and shit. So the, we can always identify what it is, but at the end of the day, it's 50%. Like, even if she does 10 things you don't like she sucking extra dick, she gained weight, she's stealing from you, she's scamming. She got four things and you got one thing. That four is still weighted against her 50%. She could probably do a breakdown there, but at the end of the day, the overall responsibility is 50 is equal between both people. It takes two to fail.
Yeah, I don't think it's healthy to try and figure out a percentage. I don't think that matters. I think if the relationship's over, the relationship's over. So it's really a matter of each particular individual. A relationship is a mirror, right? So that's why your woman or your man is probably the person who can push your buttons or trigger you. So if the relationship ends, it's not about figuring out who shares of what. It's about figuring how could I have shown up better in that relationship, right? Could I have communicated better? Could I have been a better listener? All of those things. And then that way, moving forward, you don't make those same mistakes in future relationships. We all have a tendency to react to the present through the lens of the past. So as opposed to trying to figure out the percentage, just figure out where you can improve and push it forward into the next relationship.
I kind of I take full responsibility for stuff just in general, the way I'm thinking about it, because I kind of got, like, my memory not that good, right? So I eliminate things early in the process. And if I ignore something or I miss something to eliminate, then I'll blame myself because I should have paid more attention to that thing. Now, whatever fault she has, she's at fault for. But in order for me to correct the mistake so I don't run into the same scenario again, I'm gonna make sure I look for, okay, I forgot to see how this woman felt about whatever. Next time, I'm gonna make sure that's something I focus in on, plus all the other previous things that was a problem for me up until this point, and ensure that I have corrective behavior moving forward so that I can find the optimal situation. But whatever she did, that's her. I really can't control how anybody else acts, only how I respond to it. So that's the thing I kind of focus on, my response or what I allow or don't allow.
Let me ask this question.
Go ahead. Can I answer that question real fast, yeah? Okay. Now, what I was going to say is, I think most people do a self-reflection after probably a breakup, even if it's just boyfriend, girlfriend. Most times you like, man, what, trying to think back, what was it, something I did or something I said, how I was moving, how I wasn't moving. I think most men will do that self-reflection. Now, as far as, like, I think my man Shield said, as far as put a percentage on it, now I don't think that's what we do. I think, I don't know who said most time women will put a percentage on her. And I definitely agree with that women will probably put percentage on her. And, but, if you're a good, oh, did you say it? I know somebody said it.
That was me, bro. I was fucking with you, bro. Okay.
So what, Shadow, I agree with you then. I don't, as far as, like I said, if you're a upstanding type dude, you definitely gonna do some self-reflection. You got to look in the mirror like, yeah, I fucked up on this and fucked up on that. I probably could have did a better job at this or that, whatever the case may be. And then you try to make the adjustments. I mean, that's just in anything you may have took an L on. You should be trying to make some type of adjustment, some type of switch up, make some type of move, but especially on a relationship, because like I said before, your past relationship could affect your next one because you carrying that same goddamn baggage to the new relationship. Then you ain't doing the new person. You doing that new person a disservice. You do yourself a disservice because you carrying that same bad baggage and not trying to fix anything that you know you need to correct.
All right. Let me ask y'all this. What are 3 non-negotiables for a healthy relationship?
Can you say that again?
What are 3 non-negotiables for a healthy relationship?
Mutual respect, trust and honesty, and like a mutual agreement to be consistent about the growth and being committed to growing as a couple. I think those 3 things, you can't fail if you got all of that.
Respect, communication, and understanding. And with understanding, I would say empathy. Right? I think respect definitely has to be there, right? If there's no respect, then we have no relationship. Understanding is something that really takes work. Men and women are wired differently. So in order for me to understand my wife, I have to actually, it takes effort for me to put myself in her shoes or consider her emotions or consider her perspective. I think that's where a lot of relationships get lost because it's easy for us to say, well, my position is this, and this is what I think it should be, as opposed to saying, okay, I have my position. I'm going to put my position on pause so that I can put myself into your shoes and see it from your perspective. And that's what begins to breed the empathy. That's how you get to the compromise, the understanding, the solutions. And this is what we're doing moving forward. If you ain't got those three things, you dead in the water.
So for me, I think it's I have to physically be attracted to you to the point that I'm like, I want you, right? The other thing would be respect. So after I'm attracted, then we can go to the respect. And then from there is willing. And that willing can be willing to do damn near anything, just willing to. So the attraction ensures that I'll continue to want, to want you and be proud of whatever we got going on and wanting that and wanting that and wanting that. And respect, it caters to the framework in which I have relationships exist would be, we're not going to argue, we're not going to say hurtful things, we're not going to try and attack each other. All that all falls into that respect sphere, so we can communicate effectively, we can do all of those things because we understand respectfully that the goal is not to hurt the other person, it's to clarify and get to the next point, or clarify and separate. But we don't have to go through a disrespectful portion of that relationship, because my intent is never to hurt you. And then willing. So willing, if I'm asking you to do something, I'm saying it's important, and you refuse to do it, yeah, that's not gonna work for me, whatever that thing may be.
Yeah, if I answer that question, I would just say respect, have an open mind is important to me, and then willing as well. So I think if you have an open mind to any of the possibilities in a relationship, then I think that we can try to get to an understanding and just be willing.
So if you found the most willing woman in the world that was the most respectful and the most open-minded, but she wasn't attractive, could you make it work?
Say it again.
If you found the perfect woman for your personality type, but you weren't attracted to her, could you make that work?
It had to be some level of attraction. It just couldn't be. Now, it could be a range. It don't have to be, a 12. It can be 7 and 6, and then everything else would be kind of like a workaround, if that makes sense.
It make perfect sense.
Hey, do you think
no way, no attraction? Fuck that, yo.
Hey, I wanted to ask M. White and Lapeef, I think did you say willingness too?
Yeah.
Obviously the attraction has to be there. Trev just, put the stamp on that, right?
Yeah.
And then there's always there's gonna be a baseline level of respect at the beginning. What I want to know is if at the beginning she's kind of willing but not willing to the degree that you want her to be, is that a deal breaker, or is that something where y'all can begin to compromise and begin to align together?
Well, that's why that open mind comes in for me. So if you open, because I don't expect people to necessarily be on your program when you first meet them, or y'all are just there. I think you guys have to have some conversations and learn one another and understand what it is you're going to deal with, what you're not going to deal with. And if somebody's open to say, hey, this is a completely different person from me, and so we have to be open to that, and we have to be willing to get through this, because this is just how relationships are. You're never going to find your exact copy out there. So when you guys come together, let's have an open mind to be able to see how close we can get to being aligned. And if it's not there, it's just not there. We're not going to force it. It's nothing personal. It's just that. But I think some people hop into a relationship expecting it to be completely aligned. You're never going to be completely aligned. There's some ranges of some wiggle room, some compromises, some sacrifices on both sides, because y'all are two completely different people. But if you're open to it, then I think you have a higher chance of actually being successful in that relationship.
So I think about the willingness, right? So, like, I'll give you an example. Say you have a horrible financial acumen, right? You're just really bad with your money. You spend it thriftlessly, but you're willing to learn. So we work on it, and I create some type of financial plan where we cut XYZ out, right? And then at some point, the willingness to continue with that plan goes away, and you decide you're going to do what you want to do. It's not going to work for me. And it's not to say we couldn't come to a threshold, but I take the time to try and figure something out with you for this, and you stepped away from this process. So it's not going to work, because I'm trying to give you the instruction so we can move forward. and you followed the instruction initially and then decided that it wasn't for you, you know how many things that could cross apply to? Like say you know what I mean? For me specifically, I need for me and my wife to come to an agreement and a plan, and I lay it out, or we lay it out together and we follow it. And at no point do you say, nah, I'm just not gonna do that shit no more. That to me is a problem, because that's how I perceive it.
So how do you
that's going to the respect factor.
Got you. How do you determine whether or not, because let's say she's working on it. And so she's not 100% where you want her to be. How do you determine whether or not it's just her working on it and making a mistake, as opposed to it diving into the realm of like disrespect? Like you said, like, I just don't care.
That's a great question. I never fired, I had over 60 employees. I never fired anybody for making a mistake. I always fire mentalities. So if you're making an honest mistake and trying, and you could do the worst thing ever, you know what I'm saying, but you was trying to get it right, I'll understand that, and we can work and reframe the direction, because your intent is to try. When you make a mistake of not caring, where you just say, I'm not doing that, or I'm not even going to try and do that, then you cross, for me, into the disrespect category, because everybody make mistakes. I'm not holding no mistakes against you. As a matter of fact, that's an opportunity for us to learn. But if you decide that you just don't want to do it, or you got a better way and it don't end up better, you purposely ignored what I talked about with you. You purposely decided that you was going to lead yourself in whatever direction you want to go to, and you stepped away from whatever covering I was trying to provide. That was a you decision. It's a me decision. Do I want to continue to allow that? And my overwhelming response has always been, nah, I'm good on that. And it may hurt, it may not, but looking at the long picture, I tried to work this through with you. I tried to figure out something that we can come to terms with, and you decided you didn't want to do that. In deciding that, you decided you didn't want this. That's not me doing anything. I put forth the effort. I gave you the opportunity for us to move forward in this direction, and you chose not to do it. So you can't blame nobody but yourself at the end of the day.
All right. Got another question. How can a man create stability even if they grew up without it?
You learn. I mean, it's survival, right? Which means you're gonna make you may make more mistakes than someone who grew up with it. But you make the mistakes, you learn from them, and you simply just keep going. You don't necessarily have to have an example of something to exemplify it later on in life. You could look at the absence of something and say, well, I don't want to be like that. Plenty of guys who are fathers now grew up without fathers, or grew up with fathers that weren't that great. And even as a child, you could look at your parents or your society, your community, and say, this shit ain't right. So I'm going to do it differently. So while it's great to have a blueprint to follow, my parents are still married. So I could just kind of track behind my dad and be like, this is how it goes. But I got good friends who never met their father, but they're some of the greatest fathers I've ever seen. And so you can learn in the absence of something. It probably will be more difficult, but that just comes down to self-accountability and responsibility, and you deciding for yourself who it is that you want to be.
I know with me, like I said, I experienced, I witnessed it, and I didn't like how it looked. You know what I'm saying? And so with that being said, I learned from other people's mistakes on that situation. Now, there's some things I wish I learned from other people's mistakes on other situations, but on that stability part, yeah, I didn't like how that felt in my family, in our household. You know what I'm saying? In the neighborhood I came up in. Yeah, it just wasn't something I want to deal with. I want to be around. I want to raise my kids around. I don't want to have a wife and live with. I didn't like that. So I had to make sure that I brought that to my household, in my life. And so once I did it, you could hopefully try to continue on and teach it to your children, so they can see that and how more I guess pleasant that lifestyle is compared to something else.
Yeah, I think it's so the way you can create stability when you never had it is to tap into the pain of not having stability, because a lot of times leave scars on you, and those scars, if you love your kids, you don't want to put on them. Like the parent making you promises and never showing up, you know how that feels. So you don't want to have your child go through that. The parent not coming for you however you needed them to, or showing up, you know how that feels, and you don't want to put your child through that. So I think that, like to your point, Shell, the men that did not have fathers, that might have left such a deep impact on them that rain, sleet, hell, and snow, they was gonna make sure that they didn't do that to someone else. And I think some people respond to that pain by saying nobody in the world deserves anything because I wasn't given anything. And I can understand both perspectives, honestly. I would hope they don't go there, but I do know what it feel like to feel like I was done in, so I don't owe anybody anything.
So for you and Hank, then, what do you think is the difference between you being the man who decided to say, I'm gonna do what's right in spite of my pain? What's the difference between you and the guy who's like, well, hurt people, and I'm hurt, so I'm about to go hurt people?
For
What is
me,
the
my pain, for me, my pain has also been my healing. I healed so many childhood wounds through my kids. It's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. I it's helped me just. I had never cried. Well, my father died probably when I was a kid. I ain't shed a tear until a couple months before my daughter was born. It actually brought back humanity for me and seeing a lot of stuff in other people. I was just on some savage shit, really. And Nipsey Hussle had got killed, and I put myself in a situation thinking like, damn, what if my daughters was going through what his daughters is going through right now? Harkening back to the pain I had when I was a child, and that shit made me shed a tear in the shower. You know what I'm saying? And it's just so many. So I was able to get in tune with empathy right there. Like I became more empathetic, like way, way, way more empathetic. The things that I don't care about, like I kind of don't care about a lot, but my kids I care about so much. Like it's a zest for life based off of seeing them happy, seeing like when they run in the house and they just daddy, 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 and run and grab my leg and ask for ice cream. That shit feels so good. When they come in the house and they come give me an update on everything they doing, because I make sure they tell me everything that happened if they went out with their mom. You know what I'm saying? I want to know every detail. Who's there? Who let me know. Anybody do anything? You have any issue? All of that stuff feel good. It's healing for me. So I think it's tools. I always learn how to turn my pain into power. So that was just another version of that for me. But there's some people who turn their pain into destruction for themselves.
It's a
So
mindset
I
for
think
one. Go ahead, Hank.
nah, what I was gonna say, I just think it to me, I think it's a lack of maturity, man. I just really do. When you that question you was asking, I just think that the person who was probably still moving and operating like that is lack of maturity. And unfortunately, his kid's gonna suffer because of that. Because he's gonna pass on that bullshit ass mentality. And these fuck dudes out we always talking about that that's not about their business. They're gonna be more likely to be deadbeats because they keep passing on that weak childish mentality. You know, I hate, and I hate to use the word hate, but I hate people who make excuses. I don't like that. My employees, they come with these goddamn excuses. My tenants come with these guys. Don't come with no goddamn excuses. Sell your ass, get my money. I don't give a shit. I'll put a motherfucker out. I don't care. Stop coming with excuses. Come up with solutions. So to me, that it's just an immature, weak-minded person who would move and operate like that.
So Hank, you wanted something. I think it is a great portion of people who are never going to do it. I think most people who grow up in that type of environment are going to continue continue that cycle based on just familiarity that's And unfortunately, sometimes they're just comfortable with it. There's a lot of people who are very comfortable with dysfunction because that's all they know. And many times it takes some type of outside influence where you'll see somebody else doing it differently and you might want that for yourself. But it is a mindset. You have to want to do it. You have to see the flaw in what it is that you know and want to get out of it. And it's not an easy thing to do because, first of all, you have to learn how to do better. If you weren't exposed to it your whole life, you don't know what a good father looks like, right? You don't know the amount of time that you're supposed to invest in your child, right? There's so many things that you miss that you have to make a conscious effort just to learn, first of all, before you can even enact any of these things. So that's the hardest part of it. First, you have to have the passion, then you have to have the knowledge, then you have to have the wherewithal to be able to execute it. So this is why, unless you possess at least all three of those, then most people are going to fail at it just because they're behind the eight ball from birth, just because of their own exposure from what they had.
All right.
And look, I definitely agree. Oh, go ahead, Jay. My bad.
No, go ahead.
No, what I was gonna say, I definitely agree with that. But as men, that's why I think men need to surround themselves with positive people. And you realize you got some fuckboy friends, man. You need to start weeding yourself and separating yourself from them dudes. If you know they're not going in the right direction or the direction that you want to eventually see yourself going into, you need to separate yourself because they ain't gonna do but continue to influence you to do bullshit, excuse making, failure shit, loser shit that could gonna cost you your life and your freedom. Yeah, don't hang around them type dudes. I evaluate everybody that's in my life. My wife's friends, I evaluate my son's friends, my daughter's friends. It doesn't matter. I'm gonna evaluate you. Now you gonna say, calling me judge, so be it. Because I need for you to have people who's gonna help you, encourage you, and uplift you around you. I don't want nobody's gonna bring you down. I don't want nobody gonna try to take advantage of you. If I can help it, I'm gonna try to educate you so you can see the pitfalls, the wolves that's in sheep clothing, the failures, the loser dudes, the loser women, to try to do what I can. Why? Because I learned from my mistakes. I learned from what I've experienced. So if I could pass that on to the next man, the next woman, I'm going to do that if they willing to learn. Now, we had a situation on Sunday. Dude wasn't ready to learn. He wasn't willing to listen. He just wanted to get his shit off, but that's a different conversation.
Hey, do you think some of the onus is on people who have already reached that point? Do you think that if you know better, then you are morally obligated to pull a coat and show someone, if they're willing, of course? Are you morally obligated to help somebody else who wants to get to where you at, but has no idea what the hell they doing just yet?
I mean, I feel like if we for the community, I feel like we should be. If you want to see us as a people, as a whole, do better, yes, you should be. But like you said, the key word is willing. But if you're not willing, I tell them, don't waste your time. Because that time and energy is going to be poured into a money pit, just a big old empty well that's never going to do anything with it. Yeah, don't do that. Invest that time and energy, first thing first, within your household, your neighborhood, your community. Take her home first. Make sure the people in your house that you can reach and touch and has got your goddamn last name, make sure they good. And after you do that, you spread your message amongst the people in your, like I said, your neighborhood, your community. You know what I'm saying? Maybe if you go to church, your church members. If you mentor some young brothers, make sure you reach them too.
All right. How do we raise our boys to value commitment and fatherhood?
Man, by telling them put a goddamn sock on that goddamn pickle. Shit, protect yourself. We don't worry about just making these goddamn babies. Better make work about getting that shit that penicillin can't cure. Getting these STDs. Now, but on the real, look, make sure you have them conversations with your son, man. Look, if you can, make sure you don't get these women pregnant that you know you're not gonna marry. We talk about it all the time. We talked at the beginning of the show. Don't impregnate a woman that you know you can't see the rest of your life with. Because if you have a child with that woman, you're gonna have ties to that individual for the rest of your life, whether you want to believe it or not. Because even if when they have kids, they have grandkids, you still gonna be tied to that woman. When they get married, y'all still gonna be tied together. It is what it is. So just make sure you have one with your beautiful wife, and y'all can create a beautiful family together.
Kids imitate what they see, right? So if you want your sons, I don't have sons, I got all daughters, but if you want your sons to value commitment, then you have to be commitment, right? That means you got to be committed to your wife. You got to be committed to being disciplined. You got to be committed to making your money. All of the good things that you can be committed to, you have to show your son that, hey, this is how daddy does it, even when it doesn't feel that great, even when it gets difficult. Daddy is still committed to whatever it is that he's working on. And then, something in my personal life, like my father showed me, but he didn't necessarily talk to me or tell me, right? And so I think that's important too. Me and my father did not say I love you to one another until this year. I'm 42 years old after I lost my job, right? And I called him. I'm like, yo, listen, if I ever needed you as a father, this is the moment I need you right here. I probably should have heard it earlier in life. I say that to say you show it by being it, but you also, like Hank always talks about, you actually have the discussions. You talk about how at some point every man is going to be in the ground, but his descendants are going to live on. That's really important, how you showed up for the people who are your descendants. So show up and have the conversations, and you go out and do it.
Just teaching your children something is super easy when you realize the kids are going to imitate what you emulate. So kids are going to end up doing exactly what it is they see that their parents or their peers or their role models doing. So if you want to teach kids, how to value commitment and fatherhood, you have to probably do those things yourself. That's one of the reasons why I want my son to see me loving a black woman and watch how that looks. So then that way, when he's older, he knows how to do it, and then also what to expect from her while he's doing it. So as far as the commitment piece, committing to things, I don't think is a difficult issue for us. I think what's problem is when we have a hard time finding things that we want to commit to when things get hard. A lot of times people commitment is only based on how they feel in that moment. I know we say women's feelings are typically transactional based on how they feel in the present, but a lot of the times ours can be too, because if we feel away for too long, it'll start making us think that maybe this isn't the right commitment for us, instead of we're just going through a rough patch right now, or instead of things are just difficult right now because of what. So if with our sons, if they see us doing these things, it's really hard for them not to end up doing that same shit, because that's one of my favorite things with my kids is my kids are so much like me because they see me doing things. So I'm not worried about my kids not valuing commitment or trying to think that it's cool having hoes, because it's just not something I show them. I want I show them the things that I want them to be when they become men, and it's easy after that.
Something else we got to factor in too is that if you didn't get it right the first time, it's going to take a lot more work that you actually got to put in. So even if it wasn't a good situation, you're going to have to put some work in. And then you may have had a bad situation and it still may not be ideal, but you got to figure out a way to be able to have a conversation, one of those tough conversations, and tell them the reality of the situation, because they are going to still try to imitate what it is that you're doing. And if you ain't doing shit, then guess what? It's going to be hard to have that conversation with them, but you at least got to give an explanation as to why you're not doing shit or what your plans are, because they don't have anything solid to really look at. What up, KP?
Yeah, so what's up, Gooch?
Oh, man, KP in the building, what it do?
Right on. But Yeah, that is definitely a fact. You definitely got to not only show them with your actions, but you got to, like you say, educate them, because they could see you doing certain things, but they may not understand why you're doing those things. They may not understand why daddy's always got to work all the time, and put a little overtime in on maybe on Saturdays or some Sundays and doing them extra things. Well, I'm doing these things so we can continue to live in this beautiful residence that we are living in. I'm doing these things so you can have certain things. You can be a part of certain clubs, athletic programs, or whatever that case may be. I'm doing these things, and hopefully you have a good woman there to reinforce. But why daddy always gone time? Why he don't get to make all my games? Well, dad's got to work. You know what I'm saying? It's unfortunate he works a second shift, so he can't always be there. But when he is there, he makes sure he's present, he's involved. He's making sure he's making the parents teacher meeting and doing what he got to do. I mean, you just got to make sure that you explain these to the kid, because if you don't explain, you just expect them just to watch and learn all the time. That's not always a good thing. Some people are visual learners. Some people you got to actually get down there and get grinded with them and teach them. So
let me just add this too before anybody else go. One of the things that I learned too is that you have to have active communication, since we're talking about with your boys, because kids have questions. They may not ask you that question because they don't feel like it's a good time to ask. But if you ever paid attention, sometimes in a moment of silence, kids be asking the darnest questions. Kids pay attention to everything, even when you don't think they are. If you got their reality TV BS on, they paying attention to it. I don't care if they on a tablet and it's something that you want to listen to, they hearing everything. If you're in the front seat biting your nails, guess what? They're looking at your ass in that back seat biting your nails, and then you trying to tell them to stop doing it. They observe. So you have to create a space to be able to have a conversation. So maybe instead of listening to music or they on their phone or tablet, just have a conversation with them. Ask them if they have any questions, because kids they want to ask 1,000 questions, not just about what happened at school. They may want to ask you some personal questions as far as what's going on, because you have yet to explain. And even if you did explain, they may want to ask you again because it don't make sense. So it's only so long that you can really run away from the truths that exist in your reality. They want to know. So just be prepared to tell them some form of the truth, because it ain't gonna go nowhere. Like that bad dealing you had, it ain't going nowhere. It's gonna always live with them. If their father ain't around, they're gonna want to know where their father at.
that's a fact, yeah. Because one of the hardest things that I ever had to share with my son on why me and his mother no longer together, and that was a tough conversation. That was a humbling conversation, but I knew it was a conversation that had eventually be had, and it wasn't because he asked me that. It's just I know what he needed to hear that. I owed him that. Why me and his mother weren't together. So that's for sure. Like it's funny, like you said it, but not just asking about what went on in school. Yeah, me and my son was talking the other day, and he was talking about. He said, "Well, I feel like the NBA should pay all the players the same price." I said, "Okay, buddy. If you feel that way, if you was the owner, how would you pick certain players then? If you just think they all should, whether how good they are or not?" And I just allow them to explain themselves, allow them to talk. Ask as few as questions. Give them the floor to communicate. It's going to help them in a lot of ways. Not only that, but just to know how to communicate. Period. Because a lot of these kids, they don't talk no more. They just text and FaceTime on. They don't really have face-to-face conversations like they used to. So now you have to kind of substitute and get in there and make sure they communicate and know how to communicate. So.
Got anything you want to add on this, KP?
Yeah, I
I mean, you can go invite if KP.
no, he go ahead. His mic was muted. I think he frozen.
Yeah, I think you kind of lagged a little bit too, KP, just so you know.
Yeah, no, I agree with y'all as far as the way that me and my I'm kind of this ain't just for my kids. I kind of unilaterally apply this, but I kind of observe thought processes because I'm kind of interested in how people come to conclusions. So when I'm talking to my kids, I'm asking them questions, but it's not really so I know the answer to the question. I want to know how they brain form something so I can better communicate whatever it is that I want to them. So if they are driven by reward centers, so if they just trying to figure out how they can get what they want, then I can effectively use that to discipline and incentivize them. If it's praise, that's the thing, and they want, I can utilize that to effectively drive them in the direction they need to go. If there's something that's deeper, I want to be able to catch it in the beginning so we can start working on fixing that thing. Um, yeah, because the kids you can't just leave, right? So in a relationship with somebody you choose to be with, then yeah, that thought process, you can fire somebody from a job or in the relationship. But with the kids, you have to figure out how to fix whatever that issue is. And that's only gonna come through talking to them and understanding why they think the things they do. And you can't just dictate at them in order to do that. You have to give them the space to really explain the wonders of how they see the world, the wonders of how they problem solve, the wonders of why they think something is right and why something is wrong. Oh, yeah.
All right. Hey, KP, were you trying to say something?
No, I was trying to let this one pass
Okay.
and just
All right.
pick up on the next.
Yeah, I just had this clip. I just want us to respond to. I'm gonna go ahead and run it. Let me get to these couple super chats. I don't think I got to this one. Collapse of the family because black men and women. Did I read this already? Yeah, I did. LD 244, awesome and 499. At panel, have y'all ever seen it the opposite way? I seen it when the dad kids was disrespectful and her kids was respectful. Go ahead.
Yeah, I did see that before. Actually, it was a guy who was a coach, like for our AAU team, when we was in 7th grade, and his son was tall, but he wasn't as aggressive as I was. So the way he would interact with him, it was kind of like putting me on a pedestal and talking at his son and down to him. And I think that destroyed his confidence, honestly, because he already was kind of a meek type of guy. And he later on ended up having some mental illnesses, but just feeling like I thought that was extremely disrespectful. Like the way, like looking back on it in real time, I was just like, yeah, I'm him. Da, da, da. But looking back on it, I'm like, bro, that was not cool. You shouldn't have been like comparing me to your child and making them feel less than. Like, I don't know. I thought that was extra disrespectful. And that kid was real respect. He was a meek, humble kid. He wasn't like I was with the rah-rah overly into everything. So he would never get in trouble. He would never go against what his father said. So when his father viewing him as less than, and he was desperately seeking approval, I thought that was hella disrespectful.
I think he means the kids being disrespectful, though. Maybe in a new relationship, I guess is what he's trying to say. I think that's
I
what
thought
he
he
meant.
was saying like where the step parent is respectful, but the kid is disrespectful. Wait, damn. Can you put it back up? Maybe I'm answering the wrong question because that's what popped in my mind.
I think what you just said right there in there is what it meant. The second, I think the kid was being disrespectful in the situation, maybe with the stepmother or in the dynamic, whatever it is. I think that's what he meant. I've seen this opposite way. I've seen the dad's kid.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah.
So he's saying when the father can't get his child under control, but the woman had her child under control in the relationship. Yeah. I think that's going to be more of a problem than anything, because as the leader, you can't get your unit together and to come to somebody else that you're supposed to be leading, and they already got it together. That's going to be a huge problem. That's a huge problem.
Mm-hmm. Let me run this.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. Okay.
Go ahead.
Ice. Uh-oh. Family secret.
Oh shit.
Tell it or nah.
Oh Lord.
Hello, Deontay and the coolest Ice Cup Cat. My name is Blank, and I have a family secret that has my sister and I in a moral dilemma. I'm a 38-year-old military black. 38-year-old military brat who is the oldest of three, and my 30-year-old younger brother is adopted. Oof.
Oh Lord.
My parents refused to tell him. To be fair, my brother does have a slight learning disability, but nothing that would prevent him from understanding what's going on. My family moved out. Listen, I don't have to hear the rest of it. I found out I was adopted the month before I turned 30. And the most liberating thing about it was I had an understanding that I wasn't crazy and that I wasn't making things up in my head. I had been asking my people for a long time, since I was about 8 years old. And we're not going to judge my people. That's not why we're having this conversation. Because I done dealt with it, and I got through it, and I dealt with it with anger, and I circled around the empathy and grace, and I don't need y'all judging my folks. Okay? Leave the judgment of my people up to me, because I judged them harshly. Went 5 years without talking to some of them. So, and it happened post my mother's death, so I had to deal with that. We're not going to judge our people, but this young man deserves to know the truth about who he is. And your parents dead ass wrong, because they lying, and they're making his life a lie. Maybe he don't have a slight learning disability. Maybe he lacks confidence because he can see the writing on the wall and nobody's telling him the truth. Children aren't stupid. I noticed the difference between me and my siblings and my parents when I was 8 years old. And I was lied to and gaslit my whole life. So, this young man probably going through the same shit and don't have no confidence in who he is and what he thinks. And he probably, because y'all have warped this nigga's reality with lies. So tell him. Bring it to the square. Bring it to the motherfucking square.
How y'all feeling about that?
I think it's wicked because even the other sibling knows, right? So it's like a conspiracy type shit where everybody knows except you. I think honesty is always the best policy. I would tell them as early as possible, just so they don't have to live that lie, right? It doesn't mean I'm going to treat you any differently, but you deserve to know, like bro said. I don't see the point in them never understand that. And the truth be told, maybe they at some point may want to find out what their origination is and things like that. They might want to know who their biological parents are and everything else. And why should you steal that from them? That's messed up. Like, they have the right to know. I don't see why you would want somebody to live a whole lie until they're that old. That's crazy. They should have told them when they was a child, for real, for real.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think no earlier than his early teenage years for sure. You know what I'm saying? Where you know their maturity level, maybe understand, maybe about 13, 14, 15, somewhere along the line. Say, hey, look, we need to have a conversation with you, and just explain to them, the details of what happened. You know what I'm saying? At least as much as the parents may know. I mean, maybe some situations they don't know all the details, but whatever saying, share it with them. And then if that child expresses himself, well, I would like to find my biological parents, I think the parent need to do whatever they can to help and assist in that situation, whether it's financially or emotionally. Don't feel offended. Don't feel a certain type of way. I mean, because you don't want to know the truth, like you said, Trev. He gonna want to know his origin story, and if that means find out who his real father and mother is, so be it. Want to know answers? Why did you put me up for adoption? Why am I in this situation? Why ain't you raising me and this other family raising me? I think every child should deserve them answers.
Yeah, I agree with both of y'all. I'm trying to think how I would respond to my family pretending that I was a biological child and I wasn't. I don't know how long would it take for me to start back talking to them, because I would never actually trust them again. I would always look at them away, because you turn my life into a lie. Like, one of the things that I appreciate most, like specifically about my family, is like, so we have a book that's published where I can go 14 generations back and see every ancestor grave plot, births, all the way up until now. You just made that a lie. You took that from me by doing that. Like that shit it's diabolical. And I get why they might want to do it, because you don't want to other the child. You don't want to make them feel less than or like they're not part of the family. But lying to somebody about their identity and who they are, that's diabolical. It really is at the end of the day. Yeah, and you may never get forgiven for that. So if you got to adopt a kid, as soon as they can understand what's going on, please talk to them about it. And ensure them that you love them the same and do all the same stuff you was going to do, but you need to let them know. You have to let them know.
What happens if that kid is, 14, 15 and has some sort of health condition, needs an organ, needs blood, things like that, and he thinks that his parents are his biological parents, that blood type's not going to match. So, it's a lot of things that can happen when you don't know who you come from. We talk about a lot of times how, 3 out of 10 paternity tests come back, with the man that's requesting the test not being the father. That's one of the reasons why that's how that happens. They see your blood is different. If they see your blood is different because of some sort of necessary medical procedure, and then that's when it's like, oh shit. Well, then wait, because imagine you being 16 taking a biology class, and so how the different blood phenotypes matching. What if you're A and your partner is B, what the kid will be, and you learn that lesson, and you go home and say, hey mom, I'm O negative, so that means that you and dad must both be O negative too. And they're like, no, we're not O negative, we're A positive, and he's AB negative, right? Like, and then he's thinking like, damn, well in class we said that if I'm O negative, my parents should both be O negative, and you guys aren't. That's going to give him doubt, and that type of internal self-doubt, like it roots in everything from their belief system to their identity, and that's a terrible thing to do to a child. I had a cousin who found out that she was adopted when she was 40 years old, and the way she found out was because someone was like, that's how we know you're adopted. It got real awkward. It got real quiet because that person that said that did not know the family secret was she was adopted, and she found out, and her life has been shit since. It unraveled everything that she's done. It, like Bro said in the video, she felt liberated because she always thought that she was different. They told her, never said she was. They didn't treat her different, but she just felt like she was different. When she asked, they would lie and say, no, you're not. And then for her to find out, like they plan on taking that to her grave. If that was the plan. So I would never want to keep that type of information from anybody, because the one thing a man needs when he's growing up is to understand who he is, and then most importantly, where he comes from. Because then he's going to actually he has a better chance of, having a healthy relationship, a healthy self-identity, his confidence, his ego, his attitude about things is going to be that much more, we just say without less damage or less trauma and less issues as compared to finding out, at 30 years old, 40 years old that you were adopted. That's crazy. Because imagine having a process like all those, why he didn't want me. So why did they want me? It's like that Will Smith scene. Like if Will Smith had, like, why didn't he want me part? Like going through that as a kid, it's probably going to be a lot easier than going through it as a man when you have a man resources, you have adult consequences that will come from those. So if you adopt somebody as soon as, I would tell them as soon as possible, because then they have more time to grow into it, build with you, and respect the bonds you made and the sacrifice you made by adopting them.
Yeah, they might appreciate you more.
Yeah.
If you had to put an age
When is the
on it,
right
what would y'all
time?
say?
Yeah, when is the right time?
No later than 10.
Yeah, I was gonna say 7, 6, 7. You know what? I can tell my youngest daughter, she's 4, and she will understand. And it'd probably be easier because I can explain to her how it happened. So like 4.
Yeah, I would say early as hell, because you could explain more about it, but it'll never be that shock, right? If you tell them as early as they can, of course there's some maturity level that's needed, but I would say early. Anything beyond toddler, just because them processing that, but you not taking any love away from them, because they won't really. When you first give them that concept, it's actually good that they don't have all of those extra thoughts in the beginning, right? They'll have some questions that you can answer, but it'll never be that crazy blow. They might want more information, but I feel like it would be gradual versus like just a pop. Like, damn, I think it could be completely devastating if you the longer you wait.
let's not act like most adoptions come from stable homes or stable conditions. I'm looking at what was put on the docket as for, okay, you might want to know your lineage and so you can find yourself and be a better person, XYZ. The majority of adoptions don't come from good places. They come from dysfunction, they come from addiction. Um, and that's as a record. Is omission a lie? This is what I've done over this period of time. I've shown you love. I believe that there's a discussion that needs to be had, good, bad, or indifferent. You are not mine biologically, but I loved you more than myself. This is the XYZ condition. Most of those conditions are not good for that adolescent, teen, or adult to go look for. Because at that point in time, that person would have already made contact, or there would have been some kind of negotiation at a certain point in time. This conversation need to be had. So it's no peaches and cream on that other side the majority of the time when we talk about adoption. The record stated. I believe you should be contrite and let a life that you've raised know the truth. I think if nothing, they're owed that. But let's not act like they're really losing something on the other side. You put your time, resources, and love into rearing a human being into an adult, into a productive person. If if there's resentment, hey, that person who is resenting you, if you raise them at a certain point in time, they got to look in the mirror
When you wake up, look at it.
and figure out, damn, this person loved me all my life. They put food in my belly, kept a roof over my head, educated me, and now I'm gonna hate them for taking me out of a possible position of despair. I don't know. I'll land right there.
So, Kenny, what age would you say?
Adult.
Oh, you
Adult
went to
to
an adult.
yeah, I went to adult.
Mm.
The reason being, I wouldn't want to when you're a teen, you're still trying to figure it out, right? Say you're in high school and you're trying to find your footing. You don't want that thrown into the pot, in my opinion. You want it when they're landed, and then you could have that adult discussion with them. Put all your cards
Yeah.
on the table. I've loved you all your life, but I felt at this point in time it's necessary for me to keep it 100%, so there'd be complete clarity on what you are to me, and that conversation need to be had with love.
What if they say, I feel like you lied to me my entire life and I can't trust you?
You would go over the steps as for what you put in, and then have them challenge that. Like I said, the majority, you could even check the stats. The majority of adoptions don't come from good conditions. I can easily show you that condition that I chose to love you, and this was the outcome if I didn't choose to love you. Most
Yeah,
people
I
wouldn't
wouldn't
be
care.
as, yeah, okay, well,
I would
you
be
know what?
upset. I would feel like they I'm sorry for cutting you off. I apologize.
No. I could get that Q&A, but if you leave with love, I believe that that would subside, because if you got it all upstairs and you look at the position, you have all the information put on the table, and you're a thinker. Damn, this person did not have to do this for me. They ate the cost of someone else's decision and chose to love me nonetheless, rear me, put me in a position so I could win in life.
So I
You'll
would
be
appreciate
sounding you'll be sounding like Marquise.
I'd appreciate the sacrifice and I would be thankful for, but I would never trust them again, and that would forever alter the relationship. Because I would compartmentalize the two things. Because I could see, like, okay, my life might have been this way had I not been raised with you. And I appreciate you for that. But deceiving me about my identity, I'll never forgive you for that. Because now you've reworked the whole framework of who I am. Because regardless of when it happens and where my footing is when I learn, you've uprooted that because you just told me I'm not the person I think I am. You took that from me. That's how I would personally, that's how I would view that. You you took it all from me at that point. You gave me everything, but you took everything. So it's a wash. When you could have told me when I was young, gave me that love, and I could have just appreciated it. That's personally how like I know how I give it up. That's exactly how I would have been. I'll give you an example. When my father died, we was at the hospital. He was dead for maybe 4 hours, and they was going back and forth, having the kids in one room, and they was telling the adults what was going on, but they didn't tell the kids yet out of trying to protect us. This one lady came up to me named, I'm not gonna say her name, but I remember first and last name and face and what she had on that day. And she gonna tell me, don't worry, it's gonna be okay. Your father's okay. Or something, And I said, okay, it's gonna be okay. Okay. And it was not okay. I hate that lady to this day. You shouldn't have lied to me like that. I hold grudges. So I hate that lady to this day. Like to this day. I wouldn't to this day.
So
I'm not
so
forgetting shit.
you don't take intention into consideration. It was a bad
Zero.
decision, I believe, but she probably thought that she was protecting. She was trying to console you at the moment. Poor choice, right? I wouldn't do that. But I don't. To me, I don't feel like it's nefarious and warrants hatred. I won't tell you how to feel, but I'm just saying. I really think that she meant well, even though it was a bullshit decision. I think she meant well. It wasn't trying to harm you. I think she was trying to do the opposite. She just didn't know what the hell she was doing.
Yeah, and I think when you look at these situations, you got to try to like minimize the risk, the blow, as much as possible. I understand KP's point. It's a very delicate situation. I don't think we have the right answer for it, but based off experience and stories, we can educate and try to teach folks as far as what we've done. It's going to always be situational because even when you think you think you're doing the right thing, you may still be doing the wrong thing. In Marcus' case, you've been lying to me my whole entire life. So I think you can craft something towards the truth at a younger age. It may not have to be as blunt and as direct, but I think it can be an introduction of some sort. And then maybe that might mentalize it. And then as the child gets older, then you start filling in the gaps a little bit more. But at the bare minimum, I do think you need an introduction when you have something like severe like that. So it's not like a on and off switch. Like, ta-da, you're not one of us.
I think the safest way to
Okay,
explain
so
something like that to a child would be like, first off, giving them a clear definition of what adoption is, right? Just so they understand what it is. And then just try to let the child know that, we chose you, right? It's not like it's really not going to be an easy decision to do, but I really think that the earlier the better because there's no deception involved. To me, I don't want to say cowardly, but I think it kind of is, not wanting to deal with the consequences of what that child might think or how they might take it. The truth is always the solution. Like I don't believe in holding things like that from people unless you're guaranteed an adverse effect. If you know somebody has a mental issue or something and can't withstand it, that's another story. But I don't see why a person who chose to adopt wouldn't be able to have a conversation with their child that they wouldn't be able to process. Not to say anybody else's decision is invalid because I don't have all the answers. This is just what I would do.
So I get both POVs. Marcus, if bitterness is what holds you, and say I was that person raising that child, and that child is bitter at the point where we have the discussion and feel that they don't want to interact with me anymore, I'm fine with that because I know I did my service. I did my duty. I believe at one point in time when it subsides and all information is processed, the majority of kids that are adopted, the parents don't come and find them. They write that off as a loss. The others that do come and find, those relationships are in and out because the child has known you for so long. My mom was one of those. My mom was adopted. When my real biological grandmother came first, she didn't know who she was. Attachment, the sentiment within that. Is it a lie? Holding omission until a point in time when you feel that you're out of the stage of the teenage angst or probably being teased and not growing strong, not knowing your footing. I would have to take what comes with it.
I do believe in
If you
live
did it in
omission,
love,
so it's deceit, right? So no matter what, and I'm not saying that maybe you had good intentions behind it, but it's still deceit. If it's by omission, if you're deliberately withholding a secret that you don't want somebody to find out, that's still deceit.
Okay, so tell me, what age? Give me an age, and let's build
I
from
was
there.
saying like right beyond child. I said like depending on the maturity level of the individual child, results may vary. I would say if I had to give a number, I would tell them like 5-6 years old. As soon as they start having an understanding of things, where you can explain it and they can absorb it.
I
Depending,
saw
if I have
Marcus
a
put up
mature
4.
child
I
younger
saw
than that,
you say 5. Okay, I saw Marcus put up 4
you.
and you put up 5.
The reason I said 4 was because my youngest daughter, she understands everything and she's so like full of love and joy and giving. If I explained it to her, her response would be understanding. She may be confused. She could have more questions. She could grow up knowing, hey, all of the stuff that my biological parents may not be there, but this is my father now, and he loves me. And she can move forward knowing that I'm not her biological father, but I'm her father in reality, and we can build a relationship. If I pretended not to if I pretended that I was the biological father and eventually told her, because they've asked me where they came from. They asked me, how did they get here? Like, you came from out of my body into your mama, and then from your mama into this world. We've had these conversations. So if they would have asked me, I can only imagine if I was trying to hide it, how I would have had to describe it. Like that would have been lying and stacking on top of lies. And then when people what would be flashing through my brain, it'd be when somebody be like, yeah, you look just like your daddy, and you wasn't my dad, and you sat there and agreed. You just co-signed the lie. Or you gonna be a player like your daddy. You're not my daddy, so I have none of your character traits, even though I seem like I do because I've been around you and get your mannerisms. You co-sign the lie. That's my boy. Every time you said that's my son, that's my boy, you sat there and lied in my face because you pretended you were this when you actually were that. And I could have accepted that, but you wanted me to accept you as this. You would be in my you would be an op damn near in my mind. I'd be thankful to you because ops can do good shit for you too, but yeah, no, I never trust you again. I would never trust him again.
Okay,
Ever.
so now if I adopt a child, am I legally their parent? I'm legally their parent, right?
Legally their parent, yeah.
So how am I lying to them?
That's a semantics game. You wouldn't win it with me if I was the child. I would just keep it a thing. I know it. You wouldn't win it with me if I was the child.
I'm your parent. I'm your dad. I might not be your biological, but you see this piece of paper?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't honor that. I'm gonna keep it a being. I'd be very upset about that.
I think we could find more things like the juice ain't worth the squeeze in that one. I can't see the majority of people being upset that you wait till a time where you believe it. You say 4 and 5. Kids are sponges, but to quantify that they could hold that and really grasp the gravity of being adopted at ages 4 and 5, that throws me a little bit.
So Kenny, my point was I don't think that they would fully understand it, but because of that, it wouldn't be. They would have some questions, right? First off, I would explain what adoption is as clear as I possibly could. The fact that they can't fully grasp it would mean it would be less of a blow, in my opinion, right? Because it's not really that big of a deal, and they would gradually have more questions and things like that, where it would never be that shock, that devastation. That's what I was that's what I would be trying to avoid. I wouldn't want them to 100% have all those thoughts and those questions immediately whenever they receive it.
And it's one of those things too where I don't like, unless you've been in that situation, it may be harder for you to understand the importance of. And I know some parents that have, well, I've heard stories of people that have been adopted that the parents wanted to actually believe that that child was theirs. And so, like, with that belief, they don't want to hear anything that would interfere with that thought. Because whether they couldn't have children because of health reasons, or maybe it might have been age, I don't know, whatever the case may be, but they don't want that to become a reality. And so they'll play along in its entirety when it comes to this act. And the people that were adopted, they were hurt by certain things. Like, they might not necessarily want to be with that family, but they just grew up in it because it's just was the result of their outcome. But they know, and they didn't appreciate the way that the adopted family was treating the situation. Like, they still wanted to know who their biological parents were. I mean, once they found out, but I'm just trying to paint the picture to really separate the difference when it comes to this thought process of the person being adopted and how sometimes the parents are being a disservice when it comes to those children.
They'll be asking me questions like, am I going, like my kids ask me, Daddy, how tall am I going to be? I give them an estimate. And then they ask why. They ask why about everything under the sun. I'm like, well, I'm this tall, your mom this tall, so I'm raging that it's gonna be about this height. Or why is my hair different than this person's hair? Because it is this and the third. Like, all the questions in the makeup of who the child is that you would have to answer, you damn near would have to lie about. Not just that they were adopted, because you would have to maintain the lie in order to present it in a way that they weren't adopted. Because kids ask a lot of questions, a whole lot of questions.
All right.
So my question to you, have you told all your kids that Santa ain't real, the Easter Bunny ain't real, leprechauns ain't real, the cartoons? Did you like really give them a culture shock, tell them all the things that they see as for inanimate objects or imaginary cartoons as fake?
I do.
Did you go down the line and snatch their joy?
Yeah, I told them all those things fake, and we still. Yeah, I told them all of them fake, and we still gonna partake in it because it's fun and we can imagine. I'm not lying to my kids.
I think you're an anomaly.
Hey, good evening,
your
guys.
mindset is different. I would like to think
how's
you're
everyone
an
doing?
Yeah, what's up? You know that story I was telling about the lady that lied to me then? She spawned me telling my kids the truth because of the hatred I have for her. So she helped me in that way. I give her that. Like I say, people can hurt you and be helpful at the same time. But I don't want my kids to ever look at me the way I looked at her for that. So I'm not lying to them. I told the truth and then explain it away. Like, hey, this, and the third. This how I go. Any question they ask me, I'm gonna tell them the truth. Because I need for them to get to the age where they have real problems that can deter their life X, Y, and Z, and be able to say, my daddy never lied to me. He kept it a being. So I could tell him the truth, and then he can give me the, like, if I say, hey, don't do this because X, Y, and Z, it's not gonna be a, well, maybe he could be wrong, or he could have his own rationale behind. Nah, he don't be lying to me. So if he said it, then that's what it is.
Okay, I got you. So if I snatch up a child, I know their parents is crackheads. They would have died now, and I did everything I needed to do to like secure this child, raise this child, took it upon myself, prayed on it, and say, you know, God, I'm gonna go do this. I'm gonna go sign the paperwork. I'm gonna be their parental unit. I'm gonna guide them where I know those other parents wouldn't be able to guide them and they would be in a bad situation. I choose to wait a convenient time when they're old enough to digest and have the full, truthful discussion. Your parents were crackheads. And I could document and show you where I pulled you out of that condition. I did not want to tell you at a certain time because I did not want to deprive you of your childhood. I wanted to give you the best chance of having a clear mind, lacking trauma, because that would bring trauma. I'm giving you an example. I'm going to put you in the best position to win. You may or may not resent me, but I did everything with love. And I put everything on the table for you to examine. Take your time with it. I think I'll be all right with if you hold a grudge or not, because I know I did the right thing by you. If you're holding a grudge, that's not a me problem, that's a you problem. And if that is the way you see certain things, it actually distorts your ideology, and it can throw the intelligent points that you do put out. If that's the thing that you hold on to, it's like handcuffing you from really getting the full experience or making leaps and bounds ahead. And we know this well, holding that type of discord in your heart. So if my child, getting back, I'm way off the beaten path. If that child that I've raised feels a certain way and I put everything on the table and they can only see rage, disgust, and, you know, distrust and deceit, have at it. I'll leave that at the cross.
How you guys doing tonight?
Hold on, good night.
Sounding, bro.
Yeah. Good. I got one thing that I got to add to this is this, right? So growing up as a little child, my parents they had me to go stay with my uncle. He just married like a year and a half earlier, or a year and a half. So when I got back, when I was there, my uncle's wife treated me so bad, and I ended up leaving that house and went home. But before I went home, I dropped a nuclear bomb on the whole house, man. So when I got home, they came to whoop my ass. So my dad decided to say, no, that I'm not going back over there. That I got to stay with I got to stay with them. But growing up, I saw kids that were adopted, and I saw the way things went, and I said to myself, I will never adopt somebody's child. Rather, if they have if they have a financial problem, right? I would rather spend money to train that child to school while they stay with their parents. But I will not take somebody's child away from them to stay with me by adopting them. To me, particularly, adoption is not a good thing. There are reasons why it might be something good, like in case of one of the parents or both parents having like drug issue. But outside drugs, no, I don't support adoption. Because the thing is this, it's traumatizing to the child if they find out later on. If you tell them at the age of 5, it doesn't do anything. They're not going to live a normal life once they find out, because once that child finds out that they don't belong to that family, it changes them completely. So telling a child at the age of 4, 5, 6, 7, it's not going to help. To me, particularly, the best time to tell any child that they were adopted should be when they are teen, because they've gone through the phases of life. Maybe between the age of 13 and 17 is okay. But either way, once they found out, their heart will leave their family and it ain't coming back. It ain't coming back. That's why I don't support adoption at all. If a child is at the age of maybe like about 10 years old, they already knew their biological parents before you adopt them. That's their wish. That is something totally different. But a new child, a new kid, no, I don't support that. I don't support that whatsoever.
All right. Appreciate you, Ikene, for coming up and giving your perspective, man. That's solid right there. I like that. Let's see what we got going on. All right, well, that's going to conclude tonight's show, man. It's first day of school for my son, so I got to make sure up and at it pretty early.
Y'all start early. You don't start till like September 6th
Yeah, I know,
or something
man.
crazy.
I know.
My kid's been in school a month already.
Damn. When they get
Man, what type of internment camp shit you got going on with your kids?
No, they do full days Monday through Thursday, and then it's a half a day on Friday, and then they go way more days out the year.
It's probably cool for the parent part, but as a kid, I'd be mad as talk about lying to me about adoption. I'm mad that you got me going to school all fucking year.
I actually gave my daughter a choice if she wanted to go to this school or the other school. She chose this one. Yeah.
Okay.
Because other schools start in September, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, before you go, right? I want to say something to Kenny real quick before we go. Hey,
Okay.
Kenny.
You want it on cam, off cam?
No, I can say right here, like so that other people can hear it. Just for like about 15 seconds. It's only going to be 15 seconds.
Okay.
Hey, Kenny. Hey, Kenny. Yes, if you adopt a child, right, it's legal. You become their father, but that is temporary in every system because as soon as that child turns 18, they can separate from you because there is no blood relationship.
That was like 17 seconds. But close enough, Ikene. All right, hit that like button on your way out. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're going live tomorrow. See y'all until then. We out.